All right, y'all. We're pretty much here. What's up? What's up? What's up? We're here early. It's definitely one of those. It's one of those days right now for me. I intended to be live. Yeah, I mean it's just cringe. I intended to be live like hours ago. But I'm just kind of at a wall with this. This is so weird. My YouTube account is not working, and I've been trying to figure out why, and it's been one of those uniquely frustrating things. My internet is fine. It's not a browser dependent thing because I'm getting the issue across different browsers and even on my smartphone. So it's not a client side thing. It's literally I showed it on my Discord here. Like I log into, when I open the YouTube app, which is already logged into my account, it just doesn't load. I can't switch accounts. It's like that. It's kind of just, I'm like locked out in a weird way. I can't log out because I'm already logged in, and when I try to log in, it just doesn't work. So I don't know. This has been kind of a hot mess, honestly. So I can't do Song Request today because none of the YouTube shit works. And Define not working. Well, okay, yeah. I can just show you. I mean, maybe you can help me out here. I don't fucking know. So universally what I get is when I go to YouTube in any kind of capacity, I click to swap between the VOD channel and the main channel accounts. And when I do anything here, any sub menu thing, you get the bottom left here, unavailable offline. And I can't do anything on the sidebar. Videos will load. If I click an external link, it'll load the video, but then I can't interact with the site. Like I can't click related videos. The comments won't load. Sidebar doesn't load. It's just an uninteractive buggy mess. Control F5. Like I got intro that forever ago. So, I don't know. I don't know what to. I don't even know what to even call this. Like, what do I even like search for to like figure out what this is here? So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here, but it is really annoying, and I can tell I'm already like exhausted and tilted off of it before I even go live. So I figured just fuck it, let's just come live and have a shit show stream until I go early vote, and we'll just kind of go from there. Pretty frustrating though, for sure. So yeah, let me see here. What's going on here? Let me see here. I'm seeing a I feel like chat, I feel like we're not really even talking about like should I be engaging right now in the chat? I feel like y'all are pretty preoccupied on something here. I don't know if I need to like intervene or whatever here right now. I wasn't particularly paying attention here, but let me see here. Don't. Okay. Jaden Hayes. Hope you've been doing well. Have you announced somewhere what other variety games you might check out next 2-3 months? So we're going to variety games. Tough to say. New release stuff generally. I mean, we just did Shadow Generations. I'm going to probably play Mario and Luigi Brotherhood. when that comes out in a few weeks. But besides that, I really do want to focus on like Mario Maker and Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island right now, we are waiting on. I'm trying to get this controller situation fixed. I have I have this new device right here that allows button remapping, but sadly it doesn't work on controllers that I want to use right now. This is like meant to let you use like modern controllers on Super Nintendo, so you can use like a PS5 controller or a Switch Pro controller for retro consoles. But it doesn't allow, and it allows button remapping to make that possible. But sadly, it doesn't work for third-party USB controllers at this time. So I went ahead and emailed them and I'm waiting a response here. If we can get this going, that'll kind of change the whole game, because I'm really hyped to. I don't want to do any Yoshi speedruns right now when I am on the cusp of a breakthrough with having like button remaps, which would fundamentally change how we speedrun Yoshi. Like, it'd be fucking huge. So I'm waiting on that. Mario Maker, I admit, is just kind of waiting on me, but I don't really feel like it today though, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm like so fucking annoyed right now with this whole Google YouTube shit. So I don't have an answer for you right now. If you go to my both my Discord and the YouTube channels, both have already announced what I'm intending to do, which is make more YouTube content. So, have you have the button layout already in mind? I mentioned this actually in the if this works. I actually broke all this down in the newest video on the second channel. Biggest change of Yoshi in the last 10 years. See the thumbnail right there. Yes, though. What I'm looking to do is egg shuffles. That's like the whole thing that's gonna change here. And what it would be is I would take the L shoulder and I would map it to a second instance of tonguing. So tongue would be both the Y button and the L shoulder, and that would allow you to like use a finger in addition to your two thumbs to do stuff. And so R shoulder would remain for the cursor when aiming an egg. L would be for a secondary tongue, specifically to egg shuffle. So you can move an egg further. You can change your egg order when you're doing level stuff, which would super allow things that have never been done before. Egg routes would be entirely different, because egg routes have always been built with the idea of doing maybe one egg shuffle, because it requires like, fucking clawing or mashing over or whatever. So it'd be pretty cool. It'd be really, really cool. But I'm waiting on them to email me on that one there, and then I'll have to kind of test further myself here. But yeah, but yeah, I don't have like a great answer right now, fam. Forgive me. Just kind of like definitely one of those days right now where I don't know. I feel extra flustered and not in control of my destiny. Might be a dumb question, but why would a controller mod like that be legal for speedruns but not emulation? Well, so it's a good question. Let me take you through this one, okay? Historically, most cheating in speedruns have happened because of allowing emulators. Emulators are, what they do allow is a broadly more accessibility into the craft. Rather than needing to have an N64, a controller, a good condition controller, and maybe a J cartridge of 64 Mario, instead, which is a lot of money for people, and shipping and a bunch of other dumb shit, variables in the controller, whatnot. Instead, you can use an emulator, download the ROM, right, legally, and then just use whatever controller you want, third party, Switch Pro, USB, whatever. The accessibility perks will allow a more fostering scene. Problem though is that the more accessible you are, the more susceptible you are also to cheating. The problem with emulators is that you can record your footage and then play back live with no evidence of the cheating. You can save state abuse and you can splice. The cheating scandals are rampant and rife for exploitation. So generally, most communities discourage emulator. Some less popular games will tolerate it, but any moderately popular speed game will have either emulator tracked separately or just outright ban emulator for like something like top 100 or top 30 on the leaderboard. So the reason why, like, I don't, you're asking here, I mean, maybe you're asking this kind of implication, button mapping or button remapping, which is something you can do standard in like emulator, right? Why am I circumventing the emulator utilization to get to a wraparound where I can get the perks of emulation in that button remapping, but on physical hardware console? And the answer, well, in Yoshi's case, this is twofold. Emulator doesn't run. Yoshi's a pretty demanding game in the context of the hardware it runs natively on. And the problem with Yoshi is that like emulators just do a bad job of emulating the game. So the game will not lag in areas where the game does lag on vanilla. And to get around the naturally occurring lag on console, there's like anti-lag strats we do in Yoshi. So you're not even really playing the same game anymore. There's like comparison bias at that point. Plus also the game just doesn't really, to me, doesn't feel, I can feel the lag when I'm playing on emulator. It never feels quite the same. So I prefer playing on console anyway. Like Yoshi, it's like extra sensitive to like emulator bullshit. So if you want to play an emulator, more power to you. I think it feels like garbage and I can tell the difference anyway. So with that, back to the whole thing about the let me go back here. Let me go to the question again here. Why are controller mods legal but not emulation? Let me pause your question and answer your question with another question here. So you're asking why are controller mods tolerated, but you're not asking why I'm needing to do a controller mod. I am only doing a controller mod in that I want button remapping because I don't have button remapping standard. If I were to speedrun a modern game, any current game now on current gen consoles, 8th gen consoles, PS5, Xbox One, and Switch all have software side global button remapping in the OS. Not per game, you can do it in the OS menu, and then the game will have to adhere to whatever the OS tells it, right? So these games already have button remapping standard, much less third-party controls that can do it as well, which are not modded. They're just, that's standard peripherals. Whether you want to ban them or not, it's up to you. But button remapping is not a hot issue like it was 15 years ago, I would say. PC gamers have had it for forever. You don't hear any Portal 2 speedrunners complaining about like button remapping. They complain about scripting or macros, not button remapping. Those are all different things. So all I'm looking for is the ability to button remap. When you're playing your favorite FPS, you probably don't want to adhere to whatever the stupid default controls are. You probably catch on to whatever you better prefer to utilize all your fingers and thumbs at one time. So that's the only reason why I'm not even like in, let me show the thumbnail again here. I'm not even into all that stuff. I'm literally into button remapping. I hate to have to like do all this shit to get hardware side button remapping to just be able to play Yoshi on physical console. But when we're talking about modded controllers, this is like, when you say that, and I'm not attacking here, I'm clarifying, it's a good question. When you say modded controllers, that's already kind of the wild, wild west. N64 speedrunners already deal with terrible controllers because of the quality issues with N64 analog sticks deteriorating naturally over time. Mario Odyssey speedrunners already deal with their analog sticks getting drift because of spin pounding in Mario Odyssey over time. No, like most of these games are not like unaware that controller degradation is a massive problem. So naturally, you have one of two solutions. Either A, you keep buying new controllers because eventually yours is just drifting and a piece of shit. Or B, if there's an aftermarket solution that will help it remain in good condition longer, you'll use that one instead. For Mario Odyssey speedrunners, they just keep buying more controllers. It's unfortunate, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is, it's what they do. Ask an Eskimo runner, they're buying a pro controller once every like 2 to 4 months. literally spin pounding just destroys your controller in a matter of like of weeks, not years. And Mario 64 speedrunners, they literally use modded sticks. There's one shop that makes, it's called the Steel Sticks, and it's the N64 stick, but it's made out of steel, and it literally fixes the whole like plastic degradation, because the plastic sensor literally just has lubricant that rubs against the sensor, so naturally the lube like wears off and it's just like friction and it just becomes crap. And it's dumb because like the stick is so fickle, being made out of plastic, and the lube is just like a temporary, not a longevity solution. So you're on a ticking time bomb with every 64 controller ever, unless it was made out of a different material entirely, which the steel stick does solve. So this is what they do. If you're ready to pay $300 for a steel stick modded 64 controller, you may do so. Also, by extension here, there's already modded consoles, because there's HDMI modded N64s to be able to literally output better video, because the 64's output is kind of like arbitrarily stupid. It's actually more obtuse than the Super Nintendo's comparatively. Like getting RGB out of a N64 is actually harder than with the previous console. It's really fucking dumb. So most people just like mod their 64 anyway to get the HDMI output. Which will be a modded console as well. So yeah, modded consoles aren't new. Modded controllers aren't new. And in my case here, I'm looking for a purity feature set that other games have, because having button remapping is not just like a preference of mine. It actually would change how you can play the game. So, okay, there's your answer for you. Though it was a really good question. Now when you say here you thought any modification was illegal, you'd have to elaborate there. To my knowledge, that's not the case. Emulator generally is discouraged on the context of cheating, never anything else here. Anti-modding purity is something I've never heard as the reason things are how they are. It's usually to deter cheating, and that's universally usually rooted in needing video proof for your time you're submitting, and not using emulator if possible. So button remapping is cool, but a turbo button would not be good. Correct, yeah. Turbo button would be macro. However, so in macro, of course, being when you can just like have like, either a sequence of button presses mapped to one button press. Hadouken is mapped to like your custom macro hotkey, right? You press triangle to do a Hadouken. Yeah, that's a macro, right? And that would therefore be, of course, obviously cheating and not allowed. And turbo button also is like input assist, which is also not allowed either. However, there are games that allow turbo. There are some very text mash heavy JRPGs that quite honestly, input purity is not really the issue, and rather it's like whatever your strategy is, or just dealing with the manipulating the RNG of a lengthy JRPG. So there are some RPGs that do allow turbo controller, but more so for button mashing, because you're just sitting there mashing, for fucking hours on end. But before you get to the part that's important, speedrunning has gotten a lot different in the last like 10 years. Mario Sunshine now allows people to skip the opening cutscene because it's just 5 minutes of like tutorial bullshit before the game gets good or whatever. That was a hot issue that led to things happening here. The definitions for 100% have gone from being like the pure objective 100% to instead whatever people would actually prefer the run, because 100% on some games is actually painfully boring and stupid. And going for whatever is like the fun interpretation of 100% is what people actually want to run anyway. People just do that now. And that has now led to just like some definitions changing all for everyone's sanity, because honestly, it's a net negative. No one cares. No one wants to watch the boring part. The boring fetch quest that has nothing really dynamic going on. Let me think what else here. So Fundo versus Hundo. Skipping the intro tutorials, like having a file at that point. And yeah, button remapping. Yeah, everything short of like scripts, macros. I mean, again, turbo generally is not allowed, but you know, some games do allow turbo to be used for a very obvious reason. There's also some like there's also accessibility concerns too here. There are games where let's say there's like a glitch. This is gonna be a bit complicated here, but like when you're bringing up like turbo, naturally a game that would benefit from turbo inputs, that's like not something auxiliary like dialogue skipping, a game like Contra, right? Contra is a game where like obviously turbo is like super banned, but the reason why like is because like the game's primary thing is like input purity, and that like if you can only mash 12 times per second, then you can't get world record. You got to be able to mash 15 to 18 times per second in order to like kill these bosses that much faster and beat the game. Like the world record holder is someone who can literally just be able to mash. The physical capability of mashing is what will discern a god runner from a top runner in Contra. So obviously turbo button would makes no sense here, right? However, there are other games where there's like a similar thing and they just have like a pro accessibility argument, and that like if there's like a glitch that requires you to mash to like make the glitch or whatever work, people have like determined here, okay, we'll just have a separate category for like no major skips or whatever, because of like, you know, and usually it's people who can't mash, honestly, due to like physical, you know, wrist strain, arthritis. You know, these are things that really happen actually. Maybe not due to gaming, but you know, shit happens in everyone's lives. So there are some games I can think of here where like there was a category split over this, or just like outright it was discouraged because it was like you know, mash to win, I guess, or whatever here. So oh no, yeah, no, Venom is fine. Venom actually is really enjoying herself. I try not to like dox her right now, but yeah, she's actually been really enjoying her her job and all that, and you know, it helps out and whatnot, so I'm all for it. All right, cool. So is that a satisfactory answer for everyone there? So in the end, button remapping is cool. It's already like, plus also like you gotta think here, there were people who were just like anti-button remapping, which is insane. Given that PC gamers have had button remapping since the dawn of time, and their only argument was that just like, you know, oh well, you know, I don't have button remapping. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know, tell you, like, consoles are fucking dumb. They should have button remapping in them. And then they finally get them, and only then, once consoles added button remapping at an OS level, then all those idiots had no argument. Then it's okay, well, then they just deal with it now. So it's like any like gatekeeping dumbasses who have been anti-button remapping, which is an insane thing to have an insane hill to die on, they just shut up and vanished the minute that like PS5, PS4, Switch, and Xbox is all like added at the same time. So bro, it's, and you know, it's so annoying because you know what's gonna happen. It's like, imagine being told this by some dork in 2015, and then, you know, 9 years later you're like, oh yeah, that idiot said that, and then there's nowhere to be found. I mean, just unironically, just actual like try actually, you know what I mean? Okay, all right. So, yeah, we answered. So I answered about the upcoming games. It's gonna be Yoshi and Mario Maker, but I'm working on this button remapping here. So we're gonna be hopping on Mario Maker. It was gonna be yesterday. It was gonna be today. Maybe it'll be tomorrow. Just, you know, right now it's just like annoying all around here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, and people, yeah, imagine being anti-remapping. That's just nuts. You're just hard committed to whatever dumbass control scheme you're stuck with. I mean, it's just like, in principle, if you're anti-button mashing, are you just anti-settings adjustment? Like, if the flight controls are not inverted, am I allowed to switch them? If I can change sensitivity on the controller aim in an FPS, am I allowed to do that too? It's just like, it's not even like a intelligent, principled stance. You're anti-button mapping, but you tolerate settings adjust. It's just dumb. It's so stupid, bro. Should be so dumb, bro. And these are the people you have to argue with. These are the people you have to argue with when a new game comes out in the new speedrun Discord. Because, dude, these like, when a new game drops, the dumbest people will bark the loudest in the Discord over rule changes. And I'm just like, y'all are so dumb, bro. I wish I had screen cap all the dumb shit I saw in the Mario Odyssey Discord when it first came out, because people were just like super Puritan, giga anti-accessibility idiots. No, it's this it's the collective suffering argument, right? Oh, well, here's what I went through, so therefore, if minimum wage was $5.15 when I did it, and it should never, I don't know why these people are complaining now, but just some dumb shit like that. It's so stupid, mega stupid. Okay, well, let me see here, y'all.
I'm standing here.
One of my childhood friends had a fireworks accident and was missing a few fingers. Button remapping back then would have been awesome, and I love that we finally normalized it. 100%. 100%. I mean, yeah. Shout outs to the, I saw that, Xbox and later on PlayStation both built and released accessibility controllers. Really, really good stuff all around. Oh yeah, I mean, imagine being a one-arm gamer. That does happen. Imagine being, I don't even know, like just all the dumb shit. Colorblind, depth perception. I don't know. Like, I feel like gaming is too celebrated to not have these kind of considerations. When I feel like, I don't know, just whatever that. Just imagine hating that. Not entitled to it standard, but just being deliberately anti it. Just stupid. Okay, I'm gonna eat real quick here, and so let's go over here. And Morrowind doesn't have any rivers. I'm just gonna eat for a second, and then we're gonna move on to our next thing here where we talk about stuff or whatever. So Any Austin is this again, my YouTube is bugging out right now, so nothing really works except videos play. I've heard that this video is a banger and that it changes how you view video games, because Austin just is hit for him being immersed in a game. I suppose here in a childlike wonder, it's like, okay, how the water flows is how I make sense of the world I'm currently playing in. So he's had this thing where he like looks into like how the rivers are working in Hyrule and Breath of the Wild, how water flow and the natural ecology of shit works in Morrowind, and stuff like that. That's been his shtick, from what I understand. I haven't seen his videos, but I've been really curious to check it out here while we're enjoying our chill day. So, my Morrowind fans, rise up here.
Up to my thighs in digital water from the hit 2003 video game Morrowind, and I'm a little confused because the game refers to this water as a river, but if you look closely, it's not going anywhere. Come here. This water is totally stagnant, and I don't know if you know this, but rivers aren't stagnant. They move, or they're supposed to. Now, I wasn't even planning on doing a video on the rivers of Morrowind, because on the map they all look very short and boring. But once I noticed this little detail of the water not moving, I got curious, and then I started trying to map out all the rivers. And in doing that, I noticed some other weird little things, and then I started doing some research, and pretty soon I had become totally convinced Morrowind doesn't have any rivers. These aren't rivers, but if they aren't rivers, what are they? So the first thing I want to do is follow this river to its source and see what we find out. It's pretty straightforward. We'll start here in the city of Balmora and we'll head north along the shores of the river. I'm going to do that a lot. The river basically meanders straight in this direction for a few minutes before coming to an end right here. And as you can see, it's not much. It's significantly less detailed than the sources of rivers in Zelda and Skyrim, which is a super fun comparison. But before I show you that, I do, of course, have to do a sponsored segment. Actually, you know what? I'll show you it and then do the sponsored segment after. Okay, so look at this. Compared to Skyrim's rivers, Morrowind's rivers are really sparse. Skyrim has beautiful, like contributing streams and whitewater rapids and these giant waterfalls that make the environment feel really alive and really wet. I like looking at this little side by side because I think it's cool to see how far Bethesda came in just 8 short years between the two games, which is actually kind of crazy if you think about it. Zelda's rivers are also more detailed than Morrowind's, and they do have directional flow, but you can find some small spots in that game that are a little bit similar to Morrowind and how sparse they are. We love that. You know what we also love? What is it again? Rocket Money. I do like Rocket Money. This will be easy. My pitch for Rocket Money is simple. Y'all are gonna hate me for this because I'm gonna sound like your dad, but my pitch is this, and I mean it. You don't actually have money until you have a budget. Period. Budgeting is the lamest, like most annoying, most negative aura activity ever. But unironically, when I started budgeting, my life got like 30% less stressful. And Rocket Money makes the activity of budgeting really straightforward and really transparent. I've used a lot of budgeting apps and this one is top tier. That's not a joke. If you're smart enough to play Morrowind, you're smart enough to budget your money.
Okay, so Reno Seer Prime subbed during the ad segment in an effort for me to skip the burned in ad for the video. Okay, all right. Well, I guess that's my cue.
You had one list of questions of great hubris. I was completely wrong. So that was nice to see. So yeah, I'm down with Rocket Money. And now I have to read a few lines verbatim because that's how this works. And then we'll be back to Morrowind. To save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members. That's a lot. Using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/AnyAustin or click the link in the description. Slash isn't much to see. Unlike Skyrim, there are no waterfalls, no streams, no rapids. It's just still water being still. At this point, I was considering the idea that this just counted as a really weirdly shaped lake, but it turns out when we start to look towards where this water connects with the ocean, there will be some more compelling evidence that this is neither a river nor a lake, nor a creek, nor a pond. It's actually probably something that I'd never even heard of before, but it makes a lot of sense for Morrowind's geology. So let's get through this bit so I can start talking to you about that. The only thing I want us to hold on to from this section of the river is this bit right here. You see how the water just pushes up in a different direction for no reason? If we're meant to believe that the river is flowing like this, there's no real way for that water to end up going that way. That's just not really how rivers work. Keep this in mind because it's going to be relevant a little bit later on. Continuing south past the city of Balmora, the way we get from the river to the sea is just as simple as the way we get from the river to its source. It's just a big straight line. Honestly, these whole rivers, they're not even worth diagramming really because there's no flow, but if you want to see it, this is what it would look like. Not exactly the most exciting thing in the world. Compare that to the one we made of Hyrule. Big difference. Just like the other part that we explored, there's also just not much going on down here. No real features to speak of, no other connecting rivers, nothing, no flow. It's just a glorified, blurry puddle of mud. But you know what? What if we're thinking about this all wrong? We've come into this exercise, especially because of the other 2 videos we made about rivers, assuming that this must be a river and looking for indicators proving that assumption. But what if instead of presupposing that this is a river and then just looking for confirming evidence, we actually ask ourselves, what is this? What are we actually looking at here? So let's state that very plainly, right? We have a long, narrow, stagnant body of water with no discernible flow, wherein all that water is the same altitude, presumably sea level, and wherein that water connects directly to the ocean. Now, if we take this set of facts and we start looking for examples of things like this on Earth using the World Wide Web, would we find anything that might fit? Well, let's take it one thing at a time. Number 1, is there such a thing as a naturally occurring body?
Okay, listen. We're gonna have to really watch that 1-hour video on why YouTubers hold microphones now, because I mean he's just blatantly holding a Shure. He's holding my microphone. He's holding a Shure SM7B. It's a $400 microphone. It's a really good microphone. It's not light. It's comically not handheld friendly. There are like microphones that are built for that, but I feel like this is just like a deliberate body language tactic that I'm not aware of what's going on. YouTubers standing up in front of a green screen, YouTubers holding microphones now. I just is that There was a video on this, and it was an hour long. It was during a subathon. We never watched it because I was like, it's just really urgent. But I feel like it's been so prevalent for so long now that there's something going on in the brain here, right? For sure. It's like those girls that like do the nail thing for their TikToks, and they're doing it for the audio sensory thing to scientifically keep you watching the TikTok longer, because we're all really just like, we're human-sized parakeets that just can, right?
Body of water that doesn't flow anywhere. There's some obvious ones like lakes and ponds, but some other good candidates are estuaries, oxbow lakes, lagoons, marshes and swamps, sloughs and tidal canals. Now, I don't have to tell you guys, I'm a damn fool. I'm not a hydrologist. I have no education in hydrology, so all of these things probably have a bunch of overlap with one another and may even be terms that don't actually make sense in the context that I use them. If you're an expert, we welcome your corrections down below because we love to learn. This is the only disclaimer you're going to get in this video. Now, the next thing we have to look for is a body of water that's long and skinny. Lakes and ponds generally aren't long and skinny. I know they can be, but just trust me, it's not going to be relevant, so we're going to count them out. But oxbow lakes, which are old sections of rivers that get bypassed by a more efficient route, are long and skinny, so we're going to keep them. Estuaries are often stagnant, but they aren't usually long and skinny because they're formed in places where rivers meet the sea. Lagoons generally aren't long and skinny, and neither are marshes or swamps, but tidal canals and sloughs, we'll define those later if need be, are. Now, if we're looking at something that has the same elevation across the whole spread, all of these will qualify because by necessity, if the elevation changed going across the area, then the water is not going to be stagnant. It's going to flow, which would turn it into a river. And then lastly, we need a body of water that connects directly to the ocean. All of these, except the oxbow lake and the lagoon, can, in the right circumstances, connect directly to the ocean. So the only one that qualifies on all fronts is tidal canals and sloughs, which for our purposes, those two things are basically the same thing. So going forward, I'm just going to call them sloughs because it's more fun to say. Now, this word is apparently both defined and pronounced differently depending on the region of the world that you're in. And it can either be said as slough, slough, or if you're English, first of all, sorry, but if you're English, slough. I'm going to go with the most common pronunciation of slough because that's how they say it on the west coast of the United States, and we're going to be using a lot of west coast examples later in the video. So what is a slough? You can kind of think of a slough as just like a thin, stagnant body of water that's usually connected to some other body of water. They can take on a lot of different forms in real life, so it'll probably just be easiest if I show you a few so you can get the feel for what we're talking about. This is Vancouver. It's in a place called Canada. This is Finn Slough, which is located just off the Fraser River in downtown Vancouver. The river flows this way and the slough gets its water from this direction, but it's just a stagnant little offshoot of the main river. Now I can hear you saying, this does not look at all like what we have in Morrorwind. Correct. An even better example of this, and one that does look a lot more like what we're looking at in Morrorwind, is the South Slough in Oregon. This water that you see is all just water that gets pushed inland during high tide, and then it just sits there or very slowly drains back out during low tide. Look how far inland it gets. If you didn't know any better, if you looked at these, you would think these were rivers flowing into the ocean, but they aren't. They're sloughs. Sloughs. So this is kind of what I'm arguing might be happening with this river in Morrowind. Maybe at some point in the past there was a little baby stream that flowed here which carved out the channel itself, but then something changed geologically and water started pushing in from the ocean, stagnating the river and creating a slough. Sloughs can also form...
Okay, if I can here real quick. This is what I'm trying to level up on right now. See how he's using like motion graphics to assist in the illustration of a point he's trying to make? This is gonna be me when I'm doing Yoshi speedrun videos. It's like there's so much going on here. I have to like illustrate what used to be the route versus what is the route versus what I'm trying to prevent happening due to what I do before I get to the part that doesn't have the thing happen. And so it's like having, Copic markers and just doing all this shit is what I'm working on right now. Like I'm learning all that in After Effects. So just
started pushing in from the
good YouTuber alert is all I'm saying here.
The ocean, stagnating the river and creating a slough. Sloughs can also form as really long offshoots of active rivers. Take this area just inland of San Francisco called Grizzly Bay. You've got a bunch of weird bulbous areas, you've got some sloughs, and then you still have that active river flowing into the area. Spots like this are ripe for complicated hydrological features to form, and if we go just a little further east in Morrowind, we can find something that bears some resemblance to this. So here's this other river in Morrowind. This river does start at a lake technically, but if we start to look towards the sea, the path the water follows gets a little confusing. How is the water flowing this way, but also this way and this way? Or is it flowing this way? And also, what's going on down here? Well, as we just learned, maybe this is actually a slough, and these are bays. And this is still sort of an active river, but the competing forces of the tides going in and the river flowing out has largely stagnated the flow and created this big complicated mess of water. I like this explanation. It's actually starting to sound like such a good explanation for everything that I'm getting a little skeptical of it, and I feel like I should probably do some oppositional research. Maybe. But first, the only thing our story here is really missing is a good explanation for why these rivers would have stopped flowing enough to keep the ocean out, or why the tides would have suddenly become strong enough to overpower the rivers. In real life, this can happen in various ways, such as is the case with the Elkhorn Slough in California. A tectonic shift actually cut the river off from its original source in the Elkhorn Mountains, which meant that the river was no longer strong enough to keep the ocean out, and so the ocean came in, creating a very complex and diverse ecosystem, including many sloughs. And you want to know what's fucking crazy about this? Sorry for cursing, I know you hate it, but you want to know what's bonkers about this? The only reason we know that Elkhorn Slough was created because of this geological event is because one guy decided to figure it out in 1983 as part of his doctoral thesis. One guy, shout out David Lee Schwartz. You never know when your very specific niche paper is going to come in handy, possibly 40 years in the future for someone who's trying to figure out how rivers from a video game 20 years in the past came to be. This guy, David Lee Schwartz, actually now works trying to get plastic out of the ocean as part of a charity. So if you have an extra $5 and you want to show appreciation to the work that he made to help make this video possible, I'll put a link to donate to the charity in the description. As far as the rivers here are concerned, all we need to prove now is that there was some sort of similar tectonic event in Morrowind's past that could explain why these rivers were suddenly unable to be rivers anymore. If you look down below, you'll see that the Morrowind nerds, which does include me, have already commented that this game is set on an island that's occupied by a giant volcano. And
well. All right. I mean, a tale as old as time, am I right? Firewalk Studios, the team behind Concord, signing off one last time. I don't even want to read this, bro. I'm just okay. Not surprised. I mean, who do we blame here, y'all? Do we Sony? I don't even know, dude. Bro. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not surprised here.
yes, they're correct. And that's very convenient for our hydrogeological headcanon, which is a phrase that no one has ever said before. Having that volcano is going to give us a convenient way to explain how this area might have changed, thus allowing that seawater to flow inland. Here's a picture of the island of Vardenfell, which is where Morrowind is set. If you zoom out to see the whole continent, you can see that it sits in the northeast surrounded by a sort of narrow sea. So the water that I've been calling the ocean is technically not really an ocean, but that's fine. Keep this picture in your head. Let me tell you a story. 74,000 years ago, a part of the earth exploded, aka a volcano erupted in Indonesia. It was really bad. The site of that eruption looks like this today. Now let's compare that to Vardenfell. Very interesting. This isn't super common, but it is the case that when volcanic eruptions are extremely violent, they can cause complex craters to form, and those complex craters sometimes fill with water, leaving only the original volcanic peak at the center, which creates an island. In the case of the one in Singapore, this center island is very large. It's nearly 30 kilometers across, and the surrounding crater was filled in from various water sources like rivers, rains, and groundwater. In Morrowind, the surrounding water has filled in directly from the ocean, which isn't as common. But there is one decent example of this in real life in Italy. You can see how some kind of eruption blasted away most of the land, leaving a smaller island in the middle. Neither of these areas are perfect examples of what's in Morrowind, but it's close enough that I feel good about rolling with it. So my story, as it stands, is basically that a long time ago, Morrowind was all one big landmass. On that landmass were a series of lakes and rivers that flowed in a variety of ways, but then one day, there was a big explosion from the mountain. This explosion was so sufficiently violent as to separate the island of Vardenfell from the mainland, causing a breach where ocean water flowed inward, creating this sea. The flow of that ocean water was strong enough, especially during high tide, to exert enough opposite pressure on the now severed rivers and streams to negate the flow entirely, creating a brackish mix of fresh and salt water, and turning these once beloved rivers into nothing more than murky, stagnant sloughs. So in light of all of this information, I stand before you to restate my initial thesis. Morrowind doesn't have any rivers. It's pretty convincing, right? Almost too convincing. So let's take some time and consider a counter-argument. Unfortunately, a lot of what we've talked about, while it's all grounded in individual concepts that do happen and are
Yo. Inverted question mark 1/4 good luck and vote exclamation mark Viper love less than 3.
Thank you, Black Suit. Welcome back. And yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off insensitive there. Obviously, Firewalk Studios being dissolved is another symptom of just the rotting AAA industry's indulgence over like hyper blockbuster budgeting. Concord could have worked if it didn't have, a 7 to 8 year development cycle and maybe was a bit more dialed back to be able to come to market a little bit sooner rather than what everyone saw it as, which was some combination of a Guardian of the Galaxy inspired, quip heavy cast of characters that are effectively a Overwatch clone that came out 7 years later than it needed to. So yeah, I mean, of course I'm sad about the developers that clearly care about the project, and in the end, it's hollowed out and nothing now. Another tax expense for Sony to have to write off, and meanwhile, a game that is just further perpetuating the toxicity of the unsustainability of the AAA industries and tendencies at this time. No, it definitely sucks for sure. It's just more that I'm just because it's a now that we know the facts, it's like we know this was a bad idea so far ago. Maybe they didn't know at the time or whatever, but just like, hey, let's do a hero shooter, but give it a AAA PlayStation budget, which will mean it'll probably take 4 years longer than we want it to. And I'm sure by the time it comes out, it'll be fine, So
are possible. It's probably impossible to have them occur on a volcanic island like Vardenfell for a variety of reasons. Firstly, volcanic islands tend to be really steep due to how they form, and if there are rivers on them, those rivers run fast because the land is, again, very steep on account of being a volcano. Notice that Hawaii has some rivers, but Hawaii does not have any sloughs because seawater can't just climb upwards, hundreds of feet. Additionally, you also need a ton of rainfall to have rivers of any kind on a volcanic island, because if you don't, those rivers are going to run dry pretty quickly because they flow pretty quickly. This isn't necessarily disqualifying because some regions in Morrowind are known for being very rainy, but a lot of the regions that are rainy aren't near the regions where those bodies of water would have initially formed. It's entirely possible that the volcanic eruption disrupted the climate of the area, so we'll call it a wash, but I just figured it was worth mentioning. Speaking of that disastrous eruption we theorized about, one thing I didn't tell you was that if this whole situation was caused by an explosion on the level of the one that formed the island in Indonesia, it would have completely obliterated Morrowind, completely. An explosion big enough to make a rift that breaks the continent apart and strong enough to move oceans into forming a new sea would also be sufficiently big as to call a mulligan for the geology of the entire island. So, I kind of buried the lead on that one for you. I know, it's disappointing to create a really fun headcanon backed up by real hydrology and geology, only to then completely dismantle it using the same hydrology and geology. But guess what? We live in reality. Just because we're making a video essay on YouTube doesn't mean we can ignore valid information that contradicts our original thesis. If reality is murky, we must do our best to present that murkiness in all its beauty. You know what they say, don't call it a spade if it isn't a spade, and don't call it a river if it's a slough. Oh, yeah. One final thing. I know I just spent some time dismantling the entire idea of these being sloughs and undoing my entire argument, but I wanted to show you something really interesting that I found while playing Morrowind for the first time. Down near the mouth of the first river we discussed, the really straight one that runs through Balmora, you'll find a swampy area full of little islands. On these islands are lots of plants you can collect for using in crafting potions or cooking, whatever. There are mushrooms like Bungler's Bane, and one of these plants can only be found down here in this area near the mouth of that river we talked about, and that plant has a very peculiar name. Huh. Ain't that something? I'm Any Austin. Thanks for watching. I don't know exactly what I wanted to do with my
time. Oh my god, dude, that's his whole channel, bro. Where do Hyrule's rivers go? Mario Sunshine's confusing economy. Oh my god, bro. Why do I want to click all these videos, dude? Oh my god. Bethesda fans so down bad, they really got to talk about whether or not Morrowind has rivers. Man. Thankfully, I am conveniently removed from this argument. I have not played a Bethesda game, so I don't even know if I hate or love it. So I get to just watch everyone in the comments argue. How about that? I couldn't tell you, Here's what I can say. If I can hear chat, as someone who is actually a centrist in this situation, a true centrist, not a political centrist, a true centrist here. I have not played, and nor my anti Bethesda, right? Here's an outsider's perspective on Bethesda games. Okay. Starfield came out, and notice there are Morrowind videos, there are Oblivion videos, there are countless Skyrim videos. I'm not even joking here. I see nothing on Starfield. Starfield, people forget, did it come out in 2022 or 2023? You know, it's just like there is nothing. They're not even making memes about it, which I would say is perceived as genuine indifference. Now, what does that mean? People can hate Skyrim, right? Hate it because the porting, hate it because Bethesda's cheap bullshit, hate it because by extension Fallout 76 was a cash grab, embarrassing pile of shit, whatever here, right? Embarrassing because fucking Skyrim VR was full price for what should have not been a full price re-release. Okay, you know, pick whatever you want here, right? Starfield has nothing. There's not even hate. There's just like it's hate requires exerting external effort to maintain and execute. Indifference is the true path of like convenience. People don't even care to hate or love Starfield. No one talks about it. Honestly, discounting fucking pronouns guy, I Starfield kind of came and went in the same 2 months it came out, honestly. No one talks about it. I mean, I know the DLC popped up here, but like that, I don't even know when that came out because no one was talking about that when it released. I saw the marketing for the trailer, but beyond that, I've seen nothing here. So, all that to say here, I don't know. I don't think Bethesda's doing good in that front here. I mean, maybe the game's successful or not, but culturally, you know, I don't play Bethesda games, and people were yapping about Fallout 76 and Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. You know, Morrowind and Oblivion, I still hear about non-fucking stop. I hear nothing. I hear nothing about that. So I'm going to assume here that that's not a good thing. If you want the enlightened centrist's perspective. We need more game theory channels in our lives. Oh, for sure. Oh my god! And then here comes the hot take. Here we go. Here, I poked the bear. Starfield is dog shit. The only people who like it are weird Xbox fanboys who try too hard. I can't say. I don't know. What can I say here, y'all? You know. Well, that was a great video. All right, let's go ahead and we ain't getting no younger, y'all. Let's go ahead and get to it then, shall we? So, we're gonna open today up here with I got a couple things here, nice and organized. We have some video game stuff, and then we're gonna get into some other stuff here as well. So, join me today for today's Try Hard Talk. I don't have YouTube right now, so forgive me here. We're kind of working around that at this current time. So we're going to begin first with more from our queen, Lina Khan, who, again, I'm going to link her again. This is the head of the FTC, Federal Trade Commission. So she's been cooking up some cool stuff here with positive change and a deterrent from abusive corporate practices for consumers that we're all just used to. You may recall recently that I had elaborated on the click to cancel legislation, where corporations starting in spring, around March of next year, they're going to have to, maybe more like April. It's 6 months from now. So April of next year, corporations are going to have to start enforcing where when you click to sign up, clicking to cancel will have to be equally as easy. Signing up can't be any more difficult or canceling can't be any more difficult than signing up. So that happened. There's been a new thing here on abolishing fake reviews and bot spam reviews going forward, which has been littering Amazon.com for a hot minute now. And generally, it's been such a prevalently garbage thing on Google Shopping and everywhere else that I would argue I don't even take those seriously anymore. Like when I'm looking through like reviews, you can't even trust that what you're consuming is face value. You have to vet even further. And even then I kind of just conclude and make my own assessment regardless of what I'm seeing here. There's been times I've actually bought a product that had less reviews because I felt like what I was looking at was just bot spam. Product A, product B on Amazon, and product A has like 10,000 reviews, but it's like all of the most generic one sentence bot spam ever. And then product B has like 400 reviews and they feel actually genuine. I've before made the assessment to buy the less reviewed item because I'm sussy on the bot spam. You know what I mean? It's so fucking garbage. Well, anyways, piggybacking off of this here, your Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, has elaborated here yet again now that there have been some positive changes with airlines. Now, airlines, get this, they are required to automatically give you cash or credit card vendor refunds whenever they are overbooked or flights are canceled not due to your fault. So this is like they can try to swoon you with like a proposition, but if you decline the proposition, they are legally required to automatically give you refunds. No, they not flight credits that expire in 1 year, not some bullshit proprietary e-credit tied to your account that can't be transferred and has an expiration date of 1 year. Wow, great fucking refund, right? No, cash refunds, which should have always been standard. Let's be real, it's just so fucking abusive. But like, thankfully, we're getting slightly there. You know, it's still mostly 3 airlines that run the show in U.S. Aviation commercially, but we're getting somewhere. You know, we will celebrate the W's here, y'all. So, wanted to drop that one there for you. Why do you keep sub going the shadow first, so even though you finished the game? It's comfy and it's not Halloween yet. Listen, you can't, if I can here, no one can call me a furry until after Halloween. As of now, I am celebrating Halloween. I need you to get off my dick. It's just Halloween, bro. It's the 29th. It's Halloween week. Normies are doing it. What you want me to do, bro? Am I not allowed to do Halloween? Like, hey, better yet here, if there's some 9 out of 10 shouty and she's wearing, hot shadow costume, what you gonna tell her? Exactly, hypocrite. Get out of here with that. Exactly, shit. I bet you the first one to swipe right on a hot Sonic, hot shadow. You know what I mean? Like, shit. Yeah, you feel? Hey, bro, I look over here. What is all? Chat, what is all this? What is all this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damn, bro. 1 person post the emote, 6 y'all pop up like cockroaches, bro. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. Bro. Okay. We finished the game. Yeah, it's pretty short. Beat it in like 3 sessions. Really fun though. Definitely, there's more I want to do, but we gotta move on and shit like that. Did I touch on the Nick Bosa Kaepernick comparison at all? I did not. I didn't think it was my lane because I don't know football shit well enough. But obviously Nick Bosa, I mean, I can, I don't mind telling you. I don't know if I feel confident in making that a full-on segment, but Nick Bosa interrupting some like press interview thing on the football field to show off his like MAGA hat is inherently political And you would figure that shit stains like, what's her name, bro? Laura Ingraham and everyone else here who, is like, hey, just shut up and dribble. We don't want politics in our sports. All those people, it just really reveals how gross and blatantly hypocritical they were in the first place here. So yeah, the standard rules for thee but not for me type shit, just gross. All around here. I mean, yeah, he's obviously a dork who's clearly, and the thing is, I think he's actually so stupid that he's so dumb with it. I don't think he even believes like in what he's trying to represent. Like, I don't even think he's really team MAGA. He's just it comes off more like a troll, like what a 13-year-old would do in an online chat room. It's just like, oh, this will provoke people. Let me just go ahead and do that. Because I'm like, I mean, it's like, well, do you endorse what? I mean, even forget Madison Square Garden, right? I mean, there's plenty of highlights from like Trump's behavior. I mean, that happened comfortably after the Haitians are eating cats and dogs at the president debate. So it's like, do you endorse that? Do you think that Haitians are eating cats and dogs? Do you endorse he said Haiti was a shithole? I mean, just like, you're a football guy. Do you endorse that when Trump said that, if you burn the flag you should go to prison? Like, just blatantly anti-First Amendment shit. Like, I mean, the answer. They're just, the whole thing is none of it's logical. It's all just like emotions and feels and vibes and just an idiocracy all around here. So me shitting on that, like me even getting into that is just like me, like, I don't know. I feel like anyone who was taking the NFL seriously in a Kaepernick exiled world is just already a moron anyway. So I didn't want to like shit on the football fans hardcore, because I get it. You want to just like consume and escape and all that, and believe in the facade that football can be apolitical, even though there's a fucking national anthem that was literally propped up after World War II deliberately as a pro-patriotic American political thing. So the whole, it's just like, your cake and eating it too, and turn off my brain. It's just, all right, bro. Well, I'm sorry, I'm black. I can't do that. I'm afraid. You gotta roll with me. I exist, and my existence is inherently political. So you gotta like eat this BBC and figure out how to cope, bro. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's kind of like what I'd hit him with there at that point. I'm sorry. I told you I wasn't gonna say all that, and I gave you all that anyway here. That's like that's what I would want to say. But thankfully, I'm not doing that segment. So you just kind of heard my thoughts out loud, and then I just threw. Okay, so the reason why what you just heard is not what I would have said is because I just gave you all of my opinion minus the substance to make it like hater proof. I always try to give my opinion, and then if I do, I try to always have additional supplementary evidence to reinforce the substance behind why my opinion is what it is on a particular topic. I would assume this is why people enjoy Try Hard Talk, or else just me like doing, or else, God helping here, that this is just me like venting my opinion as like the law and fact, which is, I feel, kind of what comparatively Asmongold would do, I suppose. You know what I mean? So that's what what I just gave you was like, the TLDR of how I feel about that. But I didn't bother to make it a segment because it's just me saying the same shit I said before here. Like, my stance on Kaepernick's kneeling and protesting and peacefully protesting police brutality and criminal justice reform have not changed in the 7 years since then to now. If anything, people have just gotten all the dumber and forgot and no one has like principled ideologies that govern how they feel about things. It's all short attention spans, social media attention spans, vibes, and everything else here. It's really stupid, and you can't really run a country or really have like a healthy conversation rooted in like, I don't know, anything, when we can't even agree on what the facts are and what's governing your perspective on things. We're speaking that Japanese. Is that what I'm doing? So there you go. So you got it out of me here. Try hard and chat if you enjoyed that one. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just the whole thing about, they need to first off have all of them apologize for like even saying that like sports is not political. Like, it's like what they were saying in 2018 versus where we are now, where like, can't have boys and girls sports. Like okay, bro. Like it's, you know what they're getting at there. It's blatant. It's hatred fueled, homophobic, transphobic bigotry, and deliberate exclusion masked as the facade of having integrity in women's sports. And it's so obviously gross and non-productive. It's a hate machine. I don't know how else to put it here. So whatever, bro. Like, them saying that sports is apolitical is like the biggest garbage in the fucking world. So you can't really, I don't even want to like waste more time with it, because you end up being frustrated at people who are too stupid to even acknowledge their own idiocracy. All right, next up here. So if you didn't hear, yesterday when we covered the ballot boxes that were caught on fire, there was more than two. I thought it was one in Portland, Oregon, and then one in Vancouver, Washington. But apparently there was another one, or there's been more of them, and there was one at the Arizona ballot box. Maybe I'm confusing which ones they were here, but either way, this is their boy, registered Republican. I had his name here. Dieter Clothcorn is his name. So this is him. And good news, there was a camera. I don't think it was an official camera, but there was a camera that was pointed at the mailbox across the street, and there was footage of a car that went there and took off with the bomb attached to this one's a bit different though. Okay, this one was a bomb that was attached externally to the mailbox. It did its job. It blew up the mailbox and it damaged a lot of ballots. But it's not the same one that we saw, where like it was an incendiary device that just that engulfed all the ballots on fire. This was more of a drive-by, attach it like mafia style, and then drive off. However, the guy was dumb because street lights were on. His license plate is clearly visible, and they were able to, like, again, the make and model of the car were all like incredibly evident in the video. So, Republican responsible for setting fire to the Arizona ballot drop box has been caught. He's the one behind burning ballots, trying to sabotage the voting process. Looks like his little plan backfired. Now he's going to face consequences here. So yeah, I'm going to drop the link here for that, and we can go over now to this. Phoenix police have arrested a 35-year-old for allegedly setting fire to the USPS mailbox in Phoenix early Thursday morning, damaging several ballots dropped in the box ahead of the November election. Real quick. Yeah, in the end, yeah, criminals. This is a very not smart criminal here. This is a very, 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 very dumb way to do it. As I've commented yesterday here, if you're gonna burn ballots, which I'm assuming you're doing in order to like either like siphon votes away from Kamala and help your guy win or whatever, right? Like, for this to actually work, you would need them to be extinguished without the official enforcement aware. Like, oh, I guess nobody voted here. Okay, like you'd want to break into the mailbox and just steal the ballots. You know what I mean? Like, and get away with it. That's like the smart criminal. Okay, if I do this, nobody vote. They just didn't. They chose not to vote, and therefore there's no votes to be collected here. Incendiary device, igniting it on fire, is leaving evidence of tampering with the ballots. Therefore, the whole like democratic process is obviously now compromised, and now everyone will get involved in amending that situation. Like, it's definitively stupid. You're bringing more eyes on the vulnerability of mail-in ballots, and now it's going to be more secure. It's going to be idiot-proof going forward. Presumably, there will be like staff securing it, or ATM cameras on the shit now. Like, it's just dumb. It's just fucking dumb, bro. Like, there are smart criminals. You just don't know they exist because they're not dumb. True. I mean, this is like impressively stupid. This is some fucking, I want to say Dumb and Dumber, but I really want to say this is some Home Alone 2 type shit. Just like, bro, like comically bad. Clothcorn have been convicted of multiple crimes over the past years in Maricopa County Superior Court. as well as Phoenix and Scottsdale municipal courts, including indecent exposure, theft, trespassing, or theft and trespassing. Jesus Christ. This guy's definitely something, all right. Any attack that strikes our democratic process carries criminal consequences. Yeah, so you get the idea. I mean, this is just like, yeah, bro, dumb. Dumb. All right, so I want to throw you that one there, and we can move on now. So, we have an update here. I admit this is not a fun one to share here, but P Diddler, Diddler here has an update, and this is looking explicitly gross here. Let me see if the video here has it. No, it's not showing anything. It's just telling you out loud what the words were. Okay, so you have the FBI agents. They're walking over to a what I perceive is an isolated quarantine confinement for Diddler, because they already know this guy's gonna get fucking destroyed if he's ever in like the general populace of a prison or jail. So I'm assuming right now he's in some like isolated shit. Yeah, so you have, okay, so, and this has nothing really here. So it's like you got various law enforcement agencies all around to presumably, I guess, interrogate him on it. But I'll tell you what happened here. Diddler is facing a disturbing lawsuit that accuses him of drugging and raping a 10-year-old aspiring rapper during a 2005 audition at a New York City hotel. Filed by Houston attorney Tony Busby, the complaint states that the young rapper, accompanied by his parents, traveled to Manhattan with hopes of advancing his career through meetings with music industry executives, including Diddler. During the encounter, he was reportedly offered a soda, which he believes was laced with drugs. Now, Orange's party is pretty bad, so just keep in mind. Combs pushed the boy down and said the words to the effect of, "You have to do some stuff that you don't want to do sometimes." Once the boy had been pushed down, Diddler pulled out his penis out of his pants and told the 10-year-old to kiss it. When the boy resisted, Combs forced his member into the boy's mouth and proceeded to repeatedly push it in and out. The boy alleges he froze in terror, lost consciousness, and later woke up with his pants undone and pain in his anus and buttocks. So yeah, this is gross, bro. This is super gross. So, yeah, man. And look, again, I covered before here. Diddler has 3 decades of a really sus rap sheet on file already as is. NDAs and y'all, and dude, again, you gotta think you're hard about it, right? Think you're hard, bro. That beating on, is her name Cassidy? I forget here. That beating on that woman in that 2016 hotel lobby tells you everything you need to know. There's no way in hell someone would do that in the lobby, much less a hotel room, much less not their own private house or domicile, unless that shit was normalized and they felt invulnerable, given that, and to the degree Diddler was, because however that happened, all that got paid out in hush money, and that 2016 incident never got revealed until this year. So 100%. So yeah, I'm pretty much already team like, dude, fuck this guy all the way. Throw the whole book at him. I want to see. I want R. Kelly and Bill Cosby to be child's play compared to whatever the fuck they're gonna throw out on Diddler here. You got to make an example of this shit. This is gross as fuck, for sure. So yeah, crazy. But yeah, that's like a new update that they're now. Presumably they're gonna interrogate him on this thing that's happening now, this new lawsuit here. Just why would he not flee and disappear knowing this was gonna come? I believe he was trying to. He already had. Well, one is that you say flee, but the courts can already determine if someone's going to be a flight risk, and that's when you do the whole like you do the raids. Because if you feel someone's at a certain like power income level, the courts can determine whether or not they are going to be a flight risk, and you accumulate all of your stuff, all your evidence, and you do your appeals to the courts to be greenlit for a raid, and then you go from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, weren't there early warnings he was going to get charged? I mean, when I don't know what when you're saying early warnings, that the whole thing is like early warnings. Generally, no, because that's the whole thing is you don't want to spook your suspect. You want to make sure that you want the raid to catch everyone off guard, and you also want to have him on tap hardcore when you do all this shit. You know, once you're look, I'm not an expert in the whole thing here, but since I'm trying to answer your question, what you're asking here. Once you like, you can't just like raid somebody without having a warrant granted. And to get a warrant granted, you have to like present evidence to like some kind of court shit and have a judge approve on the warrant. Generally, when you get the warrant approved, you probably also can then tap the phones. And when you have all of that going on, then you can pretty much like, you only make a move when you know what's gonna happen. You make the move, you do the raid, you know you've now spooked your suspect. They're gonna want to be a flight risk if they're wealthy and have money and power, and you already probably had a flight risk situation already amended from the initial warrant, given that we're talking about a billionaire like P. Diddy. So it's just, you're not gonna make dumb moves here. You know, it's Department of Homeland Security. We're not talking about like one detective in a local PD. This is like Department of Homeland Security. It's a pretty big fucking deal. So, you know what I'm saying? Not that I'm attacking you, I'm just kind of trying to elaborate here on the situations that you're asking. Back that real quick here. All right, let's go ahead and go over, let's fast forward here to our next thing here. So y'all may recall here, we covered this before yesterday. We covered the, so Trump had a rally at Madison Square Garden. This happened 2 nights ago, and I covered it yesterday. It was a disgusting rally. It was full of the most unhinged, like MAGA red meat ever, just blatantly racist and gross and dehumanizing and all that stuff here. We cover that in hardcore detail here. However, there was so much bad stuff from this that I didn't even get a chance to cover some things I had missed. So kind of wanted to come back over here and just show you a bit more. Now that the cat's out the bag, now that everyone is everyone's agreeing this was a horrible, terrible thing. And in a way, maybe a good thing, because like, it's like generally, if you're a candidate for president and you're at the week of election, right? What you're trying to do late game is appease the centrist, the moderates, the undecided. And that usually means like kind of dialing back your extremes. Generally, that there's caveats here. You know, this is why you're seeing the Democrats run this cringe strategy of trying to appease Republican voters by like showing that Kamala's tough on the border and tough on terrorism by, you know, whatever, I don't know, like by funding Israel still or whatever the fuck's going on there. Again, just clearly, effectively being pro-war at the merit of trying to appease Republicans, which is cringe and stupid and dumb. It's just pushing further and further right, while Republicans never bother pushing any further left here for appealing to anything of like sense or reality. I digress though. So anyways, Trump would obviously at this point and should try to broaden his appeal. You know, you got MAGA on lock. MAGA, they love the stop the steal and all the gross shit that JD Vance says daily and whatnot. They love that shit, right? But they're an extreme fringe of your appeal. You're not broadening your appeal, I would say, right? And so with that, it's very shocking to have seen what happened here, because it was so clearly like skewed hardcore to the right. Like it's a rally you would do when you believe you're going to win a landslide, and I would argue you're nowhere near a landslide, fam. So okay, with that, this one of the speakers here said this, and you got to hear it yourself. Tell me when you hear it.
Listen to me from Jerusalem. They really do this. Like all of you, listen to me, all of you. I get back and they go, Sid, you want to speak at this MSG thing? I go, sure. Out of character for me to speak at a Nazi rally. I was just in Israel, but I took the gig. Listen to me from Jerusalem. They really do this. Like all of you, listen to me, all of you. I get back and they go, Sid, you want to speak at this MSG thing? I go, sure. Out of character for me to speak at a Nazi rally. I was just in Israel, but I took...
Bro, crazy. Crazy. You know, it's not even like his phrase, not mine. I hope so, bro. I hope so. I mean, either way, though, in the end, I'd say that mission was successful. That this thing was 100% exclusionary and very, very hateful. Moving on here. So you may recall we were talking about this guy, the comedian. I forget his name already here, but man, you gotta hear. There were so many things that I didn't even catch this one, or really we just kind of moved on because there was so much bad stuff here. But now we're just kind of playing cleanup and whatnot. So I want to take a second, let this one fly, and then I want to discuss it in a second.
Like me personally, I think football should be all year round. Yeah. So many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson. Feels good in here. Like me personally, I think football...
Okay, so let's explain that one. So Travis Kelce is who Taylor Swift is currently dating. And I'm guessing the joke here, or okay, I don't even can't call it a joke. The statement to be explained is that presumably Travis, like OJ, is gonna murder his spouse and then get away with it. I mean, I guess I don't really. I mean, I'm trying to understand like what he said and then like what the joke would be, but I'm kind of like a little bit lost here. But either way, it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, sure. I don't know. Yeah, not really there.
I think football should be all year round. Yeah. So many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson.
And then, so what you can infer here is that, like, yeah, okay, yeah, Travis would murder Taylor Swift as like a parallel to like OJ murdering, right? Or I guess whatever here. And that's maybe a good thing because let's not forget here when they, there were some Looney Tunes who thought that the whole Super Bowl was a psyop and that whenever Travis's team won, they perceived, because Taylor Swift was very obviously like going to be pro-Democrat, that they thought that she was a psyop there to infiltrate their sports with political propaganda, because their opponent in the partisan divide here was now infiltrating the winning team of the Super Bowl, and they thought it was a psyop. They were actually some people who were now protesting the NFL because they felt like, oh, now it's tainted by lib woke garbage. You may recall here that it was like some late season game where like the ratings, they were milking it hard. They kept cutting to Taylor Swift in the VIP box, in the skybox, and it was just like driving the reactionaries insane because they just like, I'm so mad at her even being at my games and my sports, and now it's these like white women who don't like Trump, and they're so mad or whatever here. And yeah, it was maybe it pertains to that here, but either way, the joke is like quite not really a joke, I guess. I don't know. So, anyways, yeah, you have to be like pretty far down the Facebook rabbit hole to even like understand all of that natively. Only because I've consumed this garbage for so long do I even like know that much about it here. But pretty wild to make that kind of joke, regardless, I would say. So okay, this is a little bit different here. There was I don't know when this roast exactly was, but you know, I did find this here where there's a bit more of a, and I'm not trying to be anti-comedian. I get that this is at the roast of Tom Brady and a few others. It's a roast. But man, I'll play the first 30 seconds here and then we'll kind of just peace out because it's pretty gross, honestly, in my opinion. But I actually would love to hear from y'all here on whether or not, like, is this even, like, tolerable for a roast, I guess is the question.
Tom is afraid of the Giants, which is why Kevin Hart is hosting tonight. All night, he's been using the stool that Aaron Hernandez kicked out from under himself. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting. Tom Brady is a patriot, which is surprising considering he looks like a Confederate fag. Clearly your ex-wife takes after you. I hear she's out there draining balls right now. People love you, Tom. You have the same fan base as Kyle Rittenhouse. Gronk, I'm happy you could take a break from writing Santa letters to be here today. I knew you were here when we were all out.
Okay, we'll stop there. So yeah, I don't know, y'all. Maybe I've just never been a fan of this guy, honestly, based off what I'm seeing here. Like, Jesus Christ. He's only funny to white guys whose idea of dark humor is racism. So, yeah, and I'm gonna clarify that this is at a roast. It's not the rally, which is a very different thing, very clearly. But I mean, even at the roast here, I'm just like, damn, bro. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan. But I admit though, I'm super biased here in this case. I don't know. Maybe I've just gotten more sensitive over time here. Maybe it's me. All right. Well, continuing on here. We didn't actually cover this, but yeah, Tucker Carlson was at the thing too, and again, it's like they keep playing this playbook here where they keep going in on attacking Kamala on some blatantly racist shit, and it's never worked. Whenever Biden dropped out in July and then appointed Kamala as the new, like, front runner, right? It was like, if you recall, I mean, maybe I don't because it was, you know, why would you remember this here? But like, because it's terrible. For the first 2 weeks, the second half of July was just like nonstop racism from the right. It was, I mean, that was the opening line. It was either like, it was sexism and racism nonstop, and it was very unappealing. I don't know, like, and they kind of just kept that going nonstop until JD Vance was appointed for VP. And then it just kind of, now became what it was. At first it was like, okay, you should change your attack to maybe something less vehement and exclusionary. And then it just became, okay, this is just what we're going to do now, I guess. So with that, here's Tucker months later with a fresh attack on the left here.
10 days from now, to look in the eye to America with a straight face, it's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ, former California prosecutor ever to be elected president, it was just a groundswell of popular support. And anyone who thinks otherwise is just a freak or a criminal. 10 days from now, to look in the eye to America.
I mean, so just, you know, whatever. She claims Indian, which is, you know, South Pacific Asian. So, I mean, whatever. Samoan, whatever. And I have to agree with the quote tweet here in the whole thing. It's just like, it's never lost on me that these people believe sincerely that simply being non-white is an insult. I mean, that is, how else are you to interpret? I mean, Tucker Carlson here is obviously pretty gross here, but how else are you to interpret this, bro? It's just like, you're throwing up like nationalities or whatever to be able to, you know, I guess here the whole thing is really, really gross, which goes back here to now this tweet I wanted to kind of throw in you there, which is in a surprising amount of conversations where I'm trying to understand why I don't agree with someone, I suddenly realize the other person doesn't think all people are equal. Yeah, definitely one of those situations here. So, man, yeah. Continuing on here, Joe Rogan had recently uploaded his Trump interview on Twitter because the YouTube mirror wasn't working or something like that here. And then he also elaborated on a pretty telling thing here. For the record, the Harris campaign has not passed on doing the podcast. They offered a date for Tuesday, but I would have had to travel to her, and they only wanted to do an hour. I strongly feel the best way to do it is in the studio in Austin. My sincere wish is to just have a nice conversation and get to know her as a human being. I really hope we can make it happen. Which is this is actually pretty interesting here because it's like, I mean, obviously, both candidates are going to be really, really busy campaigning up until Tuesday, and this is. I'm just trying to think here of the optics here, right? It's like, isn't it crazy that Joe Rogan is the most popular podcast in the world, and Joe Rogan, you know, UFC guy, Fear Factor host. And here we are now, and like the leverage of the national conversation is not like Larry David Live or wherever. It's like getting on Joe Rogan is like one of the most powerful podiums and vocal amplifications you can have now in the modern spectrum. And the leverage is on him. He can just be like, oh, well, if you can only give me Tuesday, or if you can only give me an hour and I have to go to you, I don't want to do that, and just denies it. That's for a sitting VP, week of election, aspiring for president, and I'd rather, I'm gonna exercise my leverage here and just do my thing here. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just kind of like, wow. And it's almost, and the transparency here to admit that is like, well, I mean, this is, I just want to do it my way, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So does that make sense here? Like, I feel like the landscape is so crazy now that you can just you can do that, or that like he wouldn't even want to okay, sure, I'll come to you and we'll do it and it'll be awesome or whatever. It's just like, man, I didn't know that JRE had that much leverage, or just doesn't even value it being done unless it's done completely at his terms. Man, that is wild. And again, we didn't really cover here, but obviously, I mean, I don't want to bore y'all here, but I haven't been a fan of Joe Rogan for a hot minute now. At some point with the COVID misinformation being so rampant, I was like, I see what his appeal is to the normies, but I'm just like, the substance is not there for me. And I just find that these bloated convos and just random Googling or just things that I would do if I wanted to remain deliberately uninformed on things and just kind of reinforce some shallow amount of confirmation bias on a particular topic. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how else to put that here, really. I was never a big Joe Rogan guy. I was never anti Joe Rogan, but I got pretty off that train at some time around 2020, 2021. But from what I've heard, the 3-hour Trump interview was a glaze fest where we know now that Trump's a narcissist and a chronic liar, and to not call out any of those falsehoods that are definitively provable is kind of insane, given where we are now with the indictments, the criminal charges, the felony charges, there's a whole laundry list of where we were versus 2020 to now. And it should be, there's some basic, ethics of responsibility here in terms of just letting a known liar be able to lie on in with a total softball interview on a platform as prolific and huge as yours. So it's gross, man. So I'm kind of just but at the same time here, also know that just in the end, was Joe Rogan's appearance really going to change anything? I'd say probably not at this point now, because we're at a point now where if you're still voting for Trump, then in the end you were never going to change anyway. I feel like that divide is already done. The people who allegedly are moderates and are still well, I don't know who I really want to vote for. I'm pro-economy and I kind of like Trump's economy, whatever the fuck that means. But then again, I don't know, Kamala wants to increase taxes or whatever, even though it's comically not applying to them because they make under $400K a year or whatever. So it's those people are just so painfully uninformed that they probably were not even going to go vote anyway. Let's be totally real here. So I feel like that divide's already been done. It's just a matter of like, are people motivated enough to actually bother to go vote whatever they're aligned to at this time? And I don't think a Rogan appearance was going to change Kamala anyway. So I'm not really like, I'm not saying here I'm sad that Harris is not going to probably happen on Rogan. I'm indifferent towards that one. It's more like, damn, look at where this is just to me like not really a good sign of like where things are going to go for like the future of like media consumption and election years. Like if this is like the situation in 24, imagine what it'll be by 2028. You know what I mean? So okay, so we go from here now. Let's see here. Let's keep going back over here now. So I got some funny stuff for you here. Actually, we have you may have seen this right here yesterday. We shared this actually, that Tim Waltz surprised AOC on Twitch by playing Crazy Taxi because he's a Dreamcast guy, right? Just want to show you this again here. That way y'all are familiar with it.
You're charging tourist prices up here from these fairs.
Oh, sorry about that. Oh, this is San Fran. Watch this. I'm flying over this one. Out of the way, people.
Oh.
Oh, that was a problem. That is a problem right there. Sorry. See, this doesn't feel quite as bad as Grand Theft, does it?
No, not at all.
Like I'm
but
not
also
trying to...
chaotic.
It's very chaotic.
This is great.
So this was the game back in '99. I know. Am I getting really punked hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't,
you're charging tourist prices up here from these fairs.
Oh, go. Sorry about that.
$400 fare, by the way. Yeah, not wrong. Like, okay, all right. So that happened, right? And I had a couple of things I want to show you. One, so I actually didn't consider here how he was playing this here. I figured this was like a Steam release. So I'm like, there's no way he's playing on Dreamcast OG because he would need a VGA output capture card because it looks so good. But also, it's not even, it looks natively widescreen-ish, though the HUD's kind of jank. So I thought it was just like a generic Steam release. But yeah, the classic, fucking Walter in the Ozymandias episode. Tim, they're playing the 2011 Grace Taxi PC port, and it's not a good port, Tim. Doesn't have Offspring or Bad Religion, the licensed songs. The product placements are gone. The analog controls don't even work, Tim. And so what I learned here is that in typical Sega fashion, this PC release is hot dog shit, and you need like 10 mods downloaded to make it work well. The controls are all fucked up. All the licensed songs are not even in there. And a few other things are like removed for like licensing reasons or whatever else here. And the mods restore all that shit. So it just wasn't even like it was just a sloppy, lazy port anyway. So, but yeah, I don't know like if he's playing that version, if he's like playing on Steam or whatever. But like, because I was like, there's no way he's playing on Dreamcast because it's not even 4.3 and he's not and there's no way like Tim's staff know how to fucking hook up a Dreamcast, which is extra tricky than most other consoles because you actually would need a VGA output and then a VGA to HDMI or component adapter converter, and then you would need a component capture card at that point. I have all those things, and that's why I know how complicated it is to get Dreamcast support or Dreamcast capture at a native like 640 by 480 resolution. So threw you that one there. And then we go from here to all right. So then we got Tim. When they were done playing Crazy Taxi, Tim kind of nice. Tim Waltz was hopping on 16 star, showing AOC was good.
This is great.
So this was the game back in '99. I know. Am I getting really punked hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't,
this is great.
I love this the BLJ to fucking my dog's maid running, bro. All right, so I'm gonna throw you that one right there. Here, just hitting. First off, just hitting that casual BLJ on Dark World and then doing whatever the fuck that was.
Back in '99, I know. Am I getting really pumped hard on the comments?
No. People are like super excited.
All right, because if you haven't,
This is
Bro, my boy is cracked, man. Notice how his pausing is, like, his mashing is so good, the pause menu doesn't even appear because he's doing, like, frame perfect pausing consecutively for over 4 seconds straight. My dude is fucking cracked, bro. Holy shit. So, yeah, based God right there. Did that, you know, shit. Tim hop on, Mini hop on Crazy Taxi when he wanna wind down, but when he turn up, bro, he's on that 16. He also, then later on, he went to go play Binding of Isaac 2 here, by the way.
if you've ever,
yeah.
but I'm going to come on here in a minute. Here we go. I'm going to play this.
Go ahead and pick.
Okay, so
Oh
here's
my
the deal,
gosh.
too. You can pick these characters, and if you get really good, I found this out, and it might be the coolest thing that I've had happen to me. There's a character of me in there. That's
Are you
something.
serious?
Yeah, I'm terrible. I don't know the controllers on Xbox, but I just wanted to try it once. Oh, no. There we go. Yeah, see, sweet.
Dude,
Okay, hold
you're good.
Not bad. I'm not bad.
I how
had the
good this
money
works,
in my
actually.
pocket. Here we go. I got it. I got to get my money. It's a new deal.
The
All right,
music
get out.
is good.
Oh, here we go.
Damn, chat, y'all gonna post Bible Thump or what?
Yeah, see, it's not bad. It's kind of retro, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, hold on.
Okay, you're
I was
making a
gonna
lot
do
of
this.
money on this.
Calling
shit, though, so
calling
you got
Binding
463.
retro.
It's like
Yeah,
a New
yeah.
York. I'm like a New York idiot. I'm like driving the wrong way. They think I'm a tourist.
You're charging tourist prices up
I'm
here
trying
for
tourist
these
prices.
fairs.
Go. This is San Fran. Watch this. I'm flying over this. Out of the way, people.
Oh,
Oh, that was a problem. That is. See, this doesn't feel quite as bad as Grand Theft, does it?
no, not at all.
Like I'm
But
not-
also chaotic.
It's very chaotic.
This is great.
So this was the
Okay.
game back in '99. I know. Am I getting really hard on it?
No. People are like
Okay.
super excited.
All right. 'Cause if you haven't got this, go get this game, people. It is really sweet. Oh, shit.
You started playing this because an intern brought it to
You hear that, Sega? Potential VP Tim Waltz is directly commissioning you to make a crazy, like, it is now an executive order by the high office here. Sega needs to make a new Crazy Taxi as decreed by VP Waltz. Oh my god. So I wanted to throw you that one there too. Oh man, dude, crime will, bro. You make weed legal nationwide plus law appointed sequel to Crazy Taxi. Man, we eating good, bro. Shit. No, a new one is coming out. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was making a shit post there, but unironically, we are getting to remind everyone here. Sega did announce a $900 million mega project that included greenlighting 5 games simultaneously to rekindle the rebellious spirit of Sega. And we're getting sequels / soft reboots for Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Shinobi? I forget what the last 2 are. But yeah, they're we've already seen leaked footage of the Jet Set Radio game currently in progress. Both the Jet Set Radio game and Crazy Taxi are both gonna also get like supplementary live service renditions that are gonna be like free to play, which I think Crazy Taxi does lend itself towards. I'm pretty excited all around. I'm just happy that Sega's actually making games again. Like, goddamn, bro. But yeah, I covered this when it was first breaking news here. But yeah, we actually are getting those things unironically, which is pretty awesome. So, all right, let's keep going here. So let's go over to CNN. So let me see here. I don't know if y'all had heard. Some crazy shit happened on CNN yesterday, actually. Oh my God, I have never seen a brawl like this on CNN. So on CNN, this guy here is meant to be the I don't know, whatever, like the pro-Republican speaker, I guess. And he's gonna say something so out of pocket. You'll see. Okay, this is like, I rarely show CNN shit because usually the commentary is like just milquetoast garbage anyway. That usually is overly sanitized in an effort to like not have the appointed political guest never come back ever again because U.S. journalism's in the toilet, whatever here. But this segment, y'all, this shit crazy. So, oh yeah, I'll let it play here. Y'all see.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, well, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is
Did
that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed?
Hold on.
On live TV.
I said I hope
Guys,
you.
let me.
Okay. All right. So I'm only pausing because it was important. Like the next 2 minutes is going to be from that comment, but I want to make sure y'all heard what the comment was again here. I hope your beeper doesn't go off, is what he said. So, okay.
Table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and no, by me. I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is
Did
that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. I said, no, I did not say that.
Hold on.
Did your guest just say I should be killed?
Hold on.
On live TV.
I said I hope
Guys,
you.
let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
Of Hamas.
Guys, let me
I said
stop.
Palestinians.
Are you a supporter
Am I
of
what?
Hamas?
No, of course I'm not.
Palestinians are
Then
not.
I apologize.
Are you a
Then I
racist, violent
apologize.
person
Then I
inciting
apologize.
violence against
Ryan,
That's disgusting.
that is completely.
Then I apologize.
Good
That
job,
is
CNN. Let's
completely
have first
out
block
of
say the
pocket.
Muslim guy
You
should
know
be
that.
blown
Then I
up
apologize.
on
Then I
TV.
apologize.
Don't
Then I
say
apologize.
then I
Wow.
apologize. You literally.
I thought he said
accused
Hamas.
him.
I apologize.
You didn't think I said
No,
Hamas.
no,
I
you
said I
didn't.
supported
Yes, I did.
Palestinian
Yes, I
rights.
did.
Why? Because when you hear
What's funny
Palestinian,
is
you
Rudy
hear
Giuliani
Hamas.
said this
No,
yesterday,
because-
so you're a great guest to be here
All
to
right,
defend
I
Rudy
told
Giuliani's
myself
Give me
I
one-
wasn't going to
give me-
entertain
give me one
nonsense
second.
today, and so at this point,
This is what we're in
I
now.
can't
This
do
is America in
Here's
2024.
what I will say.
Forget the
Here's what
racism.
That's right.
It's I should
That's
die.
right.
I didn't say that. You
You
should
said,
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't give me your
I
fake
did not
ignorance.
say you should
Guys,
die.
Why did you say
guys,
with my
give me-
beeper
give me
go
a-
off?
What did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
So what
I
did you
said-
mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
Hamas.
No, you didn't. You said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan, stop talking.
At least
Sorry.
have the guts to support your racist comment.
Hang on.
I'm so sorry.
Let her
bring it back. This is
bang.
This is why yesterday's rally was disgusting.
Don't call us
and
Nazis, but I'm going to
outrageous.
threaten the brown guy as a
This is
terrorist
why.
and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler. But do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris
here,
is a pimp
apologize,
handler.
but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it
That's
to
fine.
me.
I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting. But I can be offended when you don't even say it to
That's-
me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said
Okay.
yesterday. And I'm offended that the former president and potentially future president would allow it and go for 12 hours and not say, I don't care. Because you know what? When Kamala Harris put out statements about switching up opinions, it wasn't good enough for Republicans.
Why are you looking at me?
Because you said it.
Why don't you take this back a little?
Yeah, y'all, dude, it was getting crazy. So, yeah, that was nuts. I got so obviously that happened. That made some waves. Yeah, that was pretty crazy, I would say. I have the full segment here if you want to catch it. You can look at that whenever you'd like to here. There's like the whole thing and whatnot. Definitely a sight to remember for sure. From there, we move on to what happened after now. And yeah, it wasn't pretty.
We're back here, and before we get started, I want to just address what happened in the last segment. And first, I want to apologize to Mehdi Hassan for what was said at this table. It was completely unacceptable. When we get this discussion started, you'll see that Ryan is not at the table. There is a line that was crossed there, and it's not acceptable to me. It's not acceptable to us at this network. We want discussion. We want people who disagree with each other to talk to each other. But when you cross the line of a complete lack of civility, that is not going to happen here on this show. It's a heated time. We're in the middle of a political season. We are 8 days from a presidential election. But we can have conversations about what is happening in this country without resorting to the lowest of the lowest kind of discourse. Want to address that, and I want to apologize to the viewers at home. Because we want to be able to hear each other, we want to be able to talk to each other, and we plan to do that in this next segment.
So yeah, and I think the thing that take away from this, obviously, you had your typical conservative or whatever pro-Republican individual who was outside their echo chamber and just let spew whatever is like accepted or tolerated in their inner circles, and then when you hit a glimpse of like the limelight on CNN or whatever here, just yeah, maybe a little more media training would do you well there, because that clapback was not the W you thought it was going to be. But at the same time here, in a broader sense, it's interesting how these standards are applicable to certain spectrums of guest panelists or whatever, and then just whenever it's like Trump's team doing it, it's just like business as usual to a degree. Credit where credit due. I mean, the floor is pretty fucking. The standards are pretty fucking low, and thankfully there was some amount of call out at the Kamala versus Trump debate. But I recall particularly at the VP one, it was just like insane how much steamrolling was going on there. But I mean, yeah, those debates have been pretty bad, and largely the VP one's pretty inconsequential anyway. There's not much data I've seen bear witness to reinforcing here that the VP debates really do much influencing regardless. But still, the standards would be nice if they were a bit more adhered to. But anyways, kind of want to throw you that one there. Bro was flabbergasted, bro. And then just the statement reinforcing the clip you saw earlier. And then apparently one of the former producers who worked at Rising, if y'all know the politics show Rising, where Crystal Ball and Sagar were initially at before they did their Breaking Points spinoff show or whatever. He elaborates here that apparently getting pro-Republican pundits is kind of hard to do, because very often when you have to vet them pretty hardcore to make sure they don't do anything like like that, just like blatant racism or blatant exclusionary rhetoric, and vetting them is a lot harder than you would think. And in the end, it's like when you can see how much things have devolved, he kind of like brings up here that like he chose to share this example here, which I haven't seen, but apparently, where Rising was back in 2019 to where it is now, apparently is pretty bad. So,
if you truly believe that, would you not be justified in killing him to prevent him from getting into office?
What?
If you truly believe that Trump is going to seize power for eternity, for the rest of his life, and turn America into a fascist dictatorship, what would you stop at to prevent him from getting into office?
Well, I believe in democracy, and I think that the voters will stop him, but we have the right to call it out.
But what if they don't?
For what it is. We have the right to call it out for what it is. If he breaks the law, as fascists do, we have a system of government that holds him accountable, checks and balances. But furthermore, if he believes that Kamala Harris is a fascist, let's use your same logic on that one.
But if you think that he's going to suspend the Constitution or terminate the Constitution,
which he said,
then those checks and balances wouldn't exist. So what would you stop at to stop Donald Trump?
I believe in democracy, and I believe in rule of law.
If you truly believe that,
God, what a blatant example of projection there, in the context that, like, clearly, if what I'm seeing here in her shallow worldview, it's like, oh well, I would, I'd kill Sleepy Joe if he was preventing Trump from rightfully taking the crown, the throne, and being the emperor, god, king I want. And just like, oh, well, why don't you just admit the same thing that I think here, quietly in my own little brain. Bro. Yeah, that's pretty fucking bad, not gonna lie. That is like, if that's where Rising is now, just like these like loaded would you rather situations. Oh my God, bro. That's definitely crazy. Okay. And so we did this, right? Okay, we did that. Next up here. Let's continue going on here. So, Stephen Miller, this is important to note here, okay? Like, they have continued, this rally was so gross that what Stephen Miller says here, usually their like stopping point is like, the inception of the modern Republican, which goes back typically to the 80s with Reagan. Yep, when Ronald Reagan came in here, that's when everything, that's when everything was going right. And it's crazy because when you hear what he says here, it's 100% officially now to the right of Reagan. And I had to find this quote here, actually, and it's kind of shocking when I show it to you. So listen first.
The cartels are gone. The criminal migrants are gone. The gangs are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only. One man. And that man, ladies and gentlemen, That man took a bullet for you. He took a bullet for democracy. And the cartels are gone. The criminal migrants are gone. The gangs are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only.
That line. America is for Americans and Americans only. Funny. How's Reagan feel about that, actually?
Since this is the last speech that I will give as president, I think it's fitting to leave one final thought, an observation about a country which I love. It was stated best in a letter I received not long ago. A man wrote me and said, "You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American."
Well, there you go. Well, damn. Well, damn, Chad. We're just going all the way there. That's crazy. That's just crazy. So. Reagan was a good president. You know, I'm not gonna. That's a very interesting point there. Keep cooking, bro. Keep cooking on that one. There's definitely there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, I don't even want to like. I don't want to make it into like an antagonizational thing. It's just more like there's a. If you feel like sharing, since you shared that, feel free to share what you celebrate from Reagan. I'm curious here. Like, do you adhere to Reaganomics? Do you admire Reagan's deregulation? Do you admire when Reagan specifically sought after to gatekeep education with he's the reason why college and higher education are now where they are. He's the one who started the inception of what led to becoming the student debt crisis. I don't know. I'm not sure what aspect you would find admirable with Reagan, because there's so many tangible economic consequences of his presidency. But again, it's just I don't know how to. I should just not engage in the comment, because now I'm making you have to respond to it, I suppose. But forgive me, it's just a pretty shocking one, I would say. So, all right, we're gonna move on from here now. Then. Sorry for the ignorance, but I genuinely don't understand what a rally is supposed to achieve. The people attending are already planning to vote on that person, so what's the point? Well, so in theory, I would perceive a rally as as morale. It's a morale boost. There are people who support you, but the question is, will they go vote for you? That's you want them to go from being supportive or aligned. Obviously, you want to acquire support because you're coming off as you're local. You are here to appease. The idea behind the rallies are meant that, when you're going to Texas and then to Florida and then to, Wisconsin, you're meant to deliver local catering rhetoric to the people who choose to attend your rallies. So your goal is to speak to the Floridians, speak to the Texans, speak to the Wisconsin locals, and reassure them that they're being seen and they're being heard, and why you're the candidate to help them in their needs and whatnot. That may not seem to be the case now, because we're much more of a social media intertwined world where every rally can be consumed now. But you go back go back to Gore versus Bush, and this was much more you'd only would get local news coverage of what was said at a particular rally when they were campaigning. Rallies, I would say more so now, and this is me just being speculative out loud here, they're meant to convert the people who would support you into actionable support. Go vote. That's the whole thing. So when they come to your local spot, if you can attend the rally, the idea is that when you go there, it's such an atmospheric, immersive experience that like you're like, okay, it leaves you an impression, and potentially now you're like, okay, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go vote for sure, not kind of maybe, and I might even phone bank. I might even donate. I might even like buy some merch and like rep the cause because I believe passionately in what the message is. Shit like that. So, you know. So again, and this is important to note here. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about it more than I'm talking about here. Here's the important thing to understand here, because this is like a very, if you're only consuming American politics, and forgive me, I know this is like, you know, this stream so far has been a lot of politics here. Forgive me, chat. We're almost done actually. From here I have like fun things to show y'all after this, but like, the important, like the biggest thing about American politics that's different than, you know, global politics is election participation in voting. Voting is inherently a democratic process that, we glorify a ton here with the whole like July 4th independence and, you know, hoorah, America runs on freedom. You know, we are all about, you know, hell, fuck yeah, America freedom. And that's like the facade that we demonstrate, even though at this time now here, you literally have one half of the dominant two-party system running on anti-freedom. Don't get it twisted here. You know, how much time do you have here? If I start reading off all the shit in Project 2025, which again is the blueprint mastermind behind the Heritage Foundation, a lot of that shit is anti-freedom stuff. They want to ban pornography. They are zero for legalizing recreational marijuana or any of that shit. They are all for like expanding private prisons. They are all, which is an economic reinforcement to keep criminal justice as it currently operates now, which is bad and not good because it's lucrative for private controlled and privately owned and operated prisons. You know, they're running on anti-freedom. That's the whole thing here. And with that, going back into like the elections, what's crazy is for election years, every 4 years, the percentage of those eligible to vote that then actually go vote is a comically bad number. It's hovering around 48%. It's somewhere around that number. I might be conflating 2016 and 2020 because I forget exactly what the numbers are now at this current time, but like it's somewhere hovering around half. For comparison, most other healthy democracies are usually operating north of 80 to 85%. Everyone goes vote because clearly if everyone participates, then in minus like, you know, some other garbage here like electoral college, yeah, then you would like if our voter turnout was like even 1/3 higher than what it is right now, that would be the massive game changer. But because there's so many disenfranchised potential voters, they just don't go vote. Therefore, you know, you're left to the circumvention of electoral college and these narrow polling data situations and all this high tension and everything else here. If it's very obvious here where you've seen like who wins the popular vote versus who becomes president because of, you know, like these like voter circumvented nonsense, antiquated laws that I'd argue all parties involved here love that still enact. But yeah, you know, other countries have like approaching double the voter turnout that we currently have. Ours is impressively bad and low, and it shows a fatiguing engagement that you can inspire change by engaging in the political process. So rallies are meant to, I think, primarily convert people from being supportive to becoming actionable supporters. They will actually go vote if they come to your rally. And that's probably an easily provable stat to look into. But that's what I would assume is the main thing here, is to make sure that everyone goes vote. You know, even if you're like a Trump guy and you're like, you know, hoorah, MAGA, we're gonna landslide 2024. Attending the rally, we'll think about it, right? Like you were gonna go vote, or maybe you were like confident that you're gonna win, and you were maybe gonna go vote. You're gonna keep tabs on the polling and all that here, but you might go vote. Maybe you'd rather go just like chill that night or whatever because you don't feel like going to go vote because it's like time consuming or whatever here. Then you go to a rally and now you're like, okay, I'm gonna go vote for sure. Or maybe like you go to a rally and you already were gonna vote, but now you're like down to go vote and buy merch. Or you go to a rally and you're gonna do merch and vote, but now you're like merch, vote, and outreach on behalf of like Trump's campaign, right? I don't know. It makes the engaged become all the more engaged, which is a net positive for the attempting campaign in question here when they do more rallies. So that's kind of what they're for, to help. Moonlight, what's up? Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, let me see here. I'm sorry, I was yapping a bunch here. Here, I'm sorry, I'm a bit behind here real quick. Yeah, oh man, there's so much going on now with this whole thing here. So I don't know if like, yeah, I don't know if you want me to like unload the clip on like Reagan stuff, but I mean, there's like so many, a lot of the reasons why we are where we are with like misinformation and pseudoscience, faux intellectualism, and a painfully for-profit, consolidated, corporate-operated media empires are coming from Reagan. Reagan did irreparable like damage to your modern ecosystem of, I would say, just American culture, American consumerism, American political discourse. I mean, you know, they call it Reaganomics because it was coined from Reagan. The facade and myth here that, you know, if you give tax breaks to the business operators, it will just naturally in good faith here trickle down to their workers, because who the fuck wouldn't? Otherwise, it would be exploiting your workers and having modern slave grunts walking around while the rich oligarchs around the back door. You know, I don't know. There's so many angles to bring up with Reagan. I don't even know, like, I don't know which one would compel you. Like, it's like, I don't know which one would compel you versus which one would, like, you know, make you feel like I'm attacking the person that you may admire or whatever. So it's like, I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. I don't really know where to begin with that whole thing. And maybe a Twitch stream is not the best place for me to like really go one-on-one with your beliefs, because I could see where that would be like that could be kind of a turnoff for sure. So you seem like a reasonable guy, Mark. So I'll just like, you know, I would say unironically, like, you know, look further into Reagan. There's like and you come back to me with whatever point you want to talk about, and we can kind of go from there maybe. And then, because I can see here on the other hand, right, like, because I've seen chat's getting so spicy right now. It's like such an uphill battle here. Blissful consciousness, when you're saying that you don't mind banning porn. Again, that's a big one there. Oh man, that's a. I can talk about that one too, but again, I feel like I don't want to like confront anyone directly, because it might just come off as I'm attacking you, versus I think you're just a little bit misinformed on you. I think in this case here, you're more enthusiastic for eradicating a symptom rather than the source of why you're anti-porn, right? Or I'm sorry, indifferent towards banning porn. So it's like we can go into. That's like a more deeper interwoven situation of like culture etiquette and just the hyper reality and values derived from porn. But being I'm sorry, I'm already taking my thing. I don't know how to really like close that one without like almost saying what I was gonna say anyway. But like, yeah, we'll just like it's a lot. It's a lot, and I would be here like all day if I had to like, you know, engage with each thing here. I'm not trying to like, oh man, this is tough. I'm not trying to like really combat anyone's core beliefs right now, so I don't think Twitch streams are the best spot to do that, right? So yeah, this is like, yeah, we'd have to like man, because I'd have to like just gish gallop you pretty hardcore while I'm just like talking and you're gonna be typing a response, and it's just like, I get it. In the end, I don't want to be unbearable to listen to or consume, and so I would say I wish you both luck in your journeys on whatever I'm trying to say. Okay, so all right, well, fuck, man. Okay, wish I was going into a better thing right now. So, okay, this happened here, and this happened very recently. I kind of wanted to share this with you. It's not good news, I admit, chat, but I don't know, maybe because electrical beginning just kind of like, I'm having a hard time focusing these days. So I feel like I'm kind of falling back in my old habits here a little bit, but like, this happened where a black homeowner buys a house in Minneapolis, lives there, and his neighbor is a old white dude, and the old white dude is pretty secluded, and then the old white dude comes out, and I'm not even joking here, just like blatantly shoots the black guy while he's he's gardening in his front yard, and he just shoots him. And it's not graphic, but when you see what the police response has been, it's so failure. It's like, I don't know how else to put it. You got it. It's crazy.
Questions tonight over a shooting in Minnesota after a white Minneapolis man was charged for allegedly shooting his black neighbor, but so far has not been arrested by police. Dana Griffin has the details.
This was a shocking moment caught on camera. Video obtained by our NBC affiliate KARE 11 shows David Matori trimming a tree outside his Minneapolis home Wednesday when, according to court documents, a bullet was fired from his neighbor's upstairs window.
The bullet went down through my neck and then all the way back to my spine.
Matori told NBC affiliate KARE 11 he's also recovering from broken ribs and a concussion. Adding, the last 11 months since he and his wife moved in, they've been living a nightmare next door to John Shawshak. Court documents show the victim called police 19 times prior to the shooting for incidents including harassment, hate speech, and verbal threats. It also says Shawshak suffers from mental illness. Shawshak has been charged with attempted murder, but he is not in jail. Police allowing him.
And here's the problem. Okay, all of that is not why I'm showing you the segment. It's whatever, right? That's obviously like everyday in America, gun violence and whatnot. It's the PD response to this that had me super insulted.
Him to stay in his home because they say he's a threat to himself and others.
The likelihood of an armed, violent confrontation where we may have to use deadly force with the suspect in this case is high.
That excuse sparking community outrage.
We have to take violent criminals off the street. So I'm not a police officer. I don't know how that gets done, but I know it needs to get done.
Police say Shawshak rarely leaves his home, and the department has not set an arrest date.
We are not going to bust the door down, guns blazing, and get into a deadly force situation, but we will ensure the community will be safe.
Matori says he feels the Minneapolis Police Department failed to protect his family by not arresting his neighbor when they needed them most.
If you're saying you're scared, what does that do to me, Like, you have this body armor, you have professional training.
Dana Griffin, NBC News.
Call for assistance.
Y'all, I had to I checked further into it, make sure this was like an accurate thing, and y'all, it's just it's here you go. Here's a CNN thing about this, updated yesterday, everything else here. That is insane, bro. Like, imagine you have a neighbor that is like throwing slurs at you, and if you saw it, boarded windows and everything here. This is your neighbor, and it's concerning, and he has previous charges or whatever. There's a rap sheet, the whole thing here, and I mean, it's already 19 blemishes on his record, no police intervention. Then the shot happens. After the shot, still no raid, no intervention, no arrest. I mean, y'all, I'm sorry here. Yeah, okay, custody Monday morning. Okay, that's good to hear at least. That's still fucking crazy. That is crazy. That is so crazy. That it even comes down to that, though. That is still fucking nuts. You know, I try not to like have the whole like hysteria fear thing going on, but it's like Jesus fucking Christ, bro. Like, old dude had a gun pointed out his window like it was some fucking manhunt style shit. So I don't know, just fucking nuts. Okay, well, yeah, but that Minneapolis PD response is definitely yeah, the gun violence thing is just fucking crazy, bro. Okay, continuing on here. David Fincher, who I'm a fan of, right? Guy's a talented director. An English language Squid Game series is officially in the works, with David Fincher developing the series here. I don't understand this. I don't get this whole thing where Western studios remake international properties for English-speaking territories. Like I understand like the function of like English dubbing the Korean filmed Squid Game, but to remake it for English speaking, it just feels like, I don't know, bro. I can't comment on The Office. You're not wrong. It's not the first time here. I can't comment on The Office. I actually have not really watched The Office. Though I'm not sure if... Is that even a good example, though? Because I feel like... In that case, well... UK Office and US Office, like, approach humor differently, right? So they're, like, fundamentally different things. Which I guess, technically, English Squid Game could be a different thing. No, I see where you're coming from. Could a English Squid Game have a different thing to say than the Korean one? I guess would be the question, right? You know, I feel like this would be a documentary at that point, though. I feel like it's like a little too close to home at that time here. Like, yeah, I mean, Squid Game, the game show already showed what that looked like. It was just like people just devastated over being like in like American a meritocracy perpetuated poverty. So I don't know. Yeah, my gut reaction is a little bit sour, I admit, but I mean, I guess it could cook, but maybe I'd feel a little less bad about it if like Squid Game, the series, the game show didn't already happen, and I already saw like exactly what that was, what else was it going to be other than just devastated Americans who were already in poverty and looking for a desperate relief economically. Yeah, so in the end here, dude, it's like, fuck, bro. I mean, you already got like oligarchs union busting Starbucks and union busting Amazon workers all fucking day, you know, stuck making nothing, having the privilege of healthcare be tethered to their employment while they make dirt. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too woke for this shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too woke, y'all. I don't know. Fuck. If it was something different, maybe. I think it's my thing here. Like, it's not that it's I'm sad that it's David Fincher on this shit, because I think he deserves I think he can do a better project than this one, honestly. Because I love his work. But also, I just don't. Maybe I'm more stigmatized over like Western Squid Game having anything of like anything different or substance to say. It just feels very I don't know, like it's capitalism pumping out an anti-capitalist message with the facade of inspiring change or having any real like critique or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know, I guess. Continuing on here, and then we're getting to some fun stuff, actually. This is the last of actually, we're actually done with the bad stuff now here. So, recently, Player 5 has gotten the 100% world record for Breath of the Wild. And I gotta say, this is pretty crazy here. 15 hours. 15:02 is the new world record time. I did not know. I have not been keeping up with how low BOTW Hundo has gotten. That is crazy. 900 Korok seeds, 100%, you know, all shrines. I forget the whole definition here, but like, god damn, has Hundo come way the fuck down. I think when I last saw this record, it was like 18 hours. I don't know where the 3 hours came from in the last like 2 years here or whatever. But yeah, this is nuts. You gotta think about, I would love to watch this run, because think about it, right, y'all? Just think about the fact that it's 900 Korok seeds. That means that, like, I mean, what's the math on that, please? That's like, if assuming even distribution, how many Koroks per hour? Tell me. 900 divided by 15. I mean, bro, you're pretty much clapping Koroks every, like, what, 25 seconds or whatever? Help me out here. What's the math here? Like, you know, is there, like, actually, like, 50 minutes of Korok cutscenes in this shit? 60? Wait, 60 what? 60 Koroks per hour is 900 over 15 hours. 60 per hour. Wow. 1 Korok per minute. God damn. That is nuts. That is insane. Damn, bro. Yeah, I gotta I'm gonna drop a link here for y'all if you wanna look at that whenever I get a chance here. And from here, I wanted to show y'all a little thing I came across here. So, for the behind the scenes bonus footage for the DVD release of Hercules from Disney back in the, I think it was for 97 or 98. I forget what year exactly came out in. Behind the scenes here, they showed here how they produced the Zero to Hero song, and it involved actually having actresses live act the shots that were storyboarded, and then the animators had this for reference when they were animating.
Cool. Oh, yeah. Bless my soul. Kirk was on a roll. Person of the weekend, every Greek opinion poll. What a pro. Kirk could stop a show. Going a mad a monster, and you're talking SRO. He was the no one. A zero. Now he's a hunter. He was a kid with his act down pat. Zero to hero. Your time flat. Zero to hero. Just like that. When you smile, the girls went wild with and they slapped his face on every base. On every bar. Come on, here is speed and royalty. Our hurt had cash to burn. Now do go reach and famous. He could tell you what secretion earned. Say amen. Say and undefeated. And an awesome 10 for 10. Don't sign up just to watch the sex. And this perfect package packed a pair pretty packs. Turkey, he comes, he conquers. Honey, the crowd went burger. He goes from hot seat, rain that fun. Zero to hero. A major hump. Zero to hero. And who'd have thunk? Who was the gladiator? Hercules. Who's down needs a great theater? Hercules. Is he bold? No one's greater. Is he sweet? My favorite flavor. Hercules. My man. Hercules. Hercules. That's my soul. Hercules on a roll. Undefeated. Riding high. And the nicest guy. Not conceited. He's the man. Zero, zero. Now he's a hot guy. He's our hero. He is the husband. Great thing. From zero to hero. Hercules the hero. Now he's the hero.
So all that to say here, actually, man, I'm such a sucker for the bonus footage and the bonus features. And the quote tweet here is spitting so hard. The phasing out of DVDs and rise of streaming culture is robbing us all of the behind the scenes and bloopers footage. These things inspired a lot of us to get into arts and pursue working in the entertainment industry in any capacity. To which this tweet really hit me because I totally agree. I've told this story before. If I can tell y'all a story for a second here. I said here that when I was 15 years old, that's whenever I made this like this personal like I was kind of going through the scheduled, teenage existential dread where I was like, bro, we're all just gonna die anyway. What's the fucking point? Like I was going through whatever that's called that everyone goes through at some point in their life, and I was like looking for like a sense of purpose, and I was looking for like how to like deal with like the fear of death and some other like existential philosophy type shit. Your scheduled teenage depression, right? Totally. And what got me out of that actually was whenever I was watching Incredibles, and I was actually listening and consuming to the Brad Bird commentary, and the director's commentary track is so fucking good. It's just Brad Bird just like spitting so many cool things that I still would say are just like total staples of like anyone who's into animation altogether. Animation is not a genre. It can be anything. It's a fluid medium that you can convey the genres through. Animation can be horror, tragedy, dramatic, drama, comedy, adult themes. It's a medium. It's not a genre. And I was like, bro, he's spitting. You're right. Me liking cartoons and shit. That's not me being a kid. That's me being based. Shit like that and whatnot. And it's like it's definitely it inspired me, and that's I was like, okay. I wanna. Then I was like, okay, let me look further into this shit, and I wanted to work at Pixar. By the time I was like 40 years old or whatever, that was like my initial thought at 15. Like, okay, well, Pixar by 30 is probably going to be hard, but Pixar by 40 seems very doable. I can do that. I get 25 years to like level up my skills, become completely godlike, and then I'll at that time I'll be at Pixar and I will die happy. Boom. That was my idea at the time, and refreshingly simple take that immediately got me out of the existential dread pit that I was currently in at that point. And all that to say here that the streaming and there's two things here. You're not wrong. The question you ask here is, do Blu-rays have bonus content? I can actually point you to a video on this. The answer is actually no. I don't know if you've there was a really great video that broke this down. The art of DVD menus back when they had to try to like convince VHS people to come to the digital medium of DVD. There was a lot more effort to have like the DVDs be feature rich. There used to be like somewhere, over 10 hours of bonus footage, all commentaries, all release geography trailers, DVDs definitively had a way higher standard of features and whatnot compared to Blu-rays now that generally seem to have like a stock picture as like a looping for the menu, and the bonus features being pretty bare. I mean, anything beyond a director commentary track and deleted scenes and having like all the marketing in one spot. Like a lot of features now just pretty much have that and will either never bother to include actual bonus features, or they'll paywall the bonus features for a very obviously planned double dip on the movie itself here. It'll be the release version, and then there'll be like the ultimate fan version or some shit or whatever here. So that's like there's more BTS content now. I guess in the end we're gonna have to have a battle over substance on that one there. Animation might not be a really good example of this though, because everything I'm thinking of right now is not animation. Like I'm think more so of like live action movies, and most of them tend to be pretty bare bones. I'd have to think here like the thing about Blu-ray more so is that like there are some examples of movies that had like a 4K Ultra HD release, and the 4K Ultra HD doesn't contain all the features that the Blu-ray 1080p version had, or that the DVD basic one has that the Blu-ray one lacks for whatever reason. Maybe because space reasons, and they'd have to go like double layer on the Blu-ray or some shit like that. This is not, yeah, I should have elaborated. It's not pertaining to animation. Animation is actually really good about this because, actually, I don't know if I can think of a reason here. I guess, because all the files are like local there, and like maybe for like a live action shoot, like it's just scattered across like different cinematographies and everything else here. But yeah, I should have elaborated here. This is like broadly for movies, even though I'm showing an example of animation here. It was more aimed at like, stream culture, which, if I can bring it back to the substance of that point, you're seeing this very exemplified with Warner Brothers Discovery. They are literally killing media for a short-term tax benefit write-off, and a lot of shows, animated ones even at that here, I believe currently right now lack a physical release. So it's just lost media that they are, as a corporation, are deliberately doing to exploit some pro-corporate tax loopholes that were already lobbied by corporations in the first place. So yeah, just in general here, I'm definitely a sucker for the bonus stuff here, and in general, it definitively has been a lower priority altogether. Okay, well. So yeah, not even me being angry about anything here. It's more like I hope to see it continue to persist and not continue to diminish further and further. And we have 2 topics left here. I wonder how. Well, actually, I wonder where Venom's at here. She's supposed to go. Reminder again here. I'm let me see here, because we're gonna go early vote today and make sure what time. Close at 6 or something. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. It's supposed to get off at 2, and it's 3 now. So I'm gonna go ahead and just like put a little. Yeah, so we're gonna have to like. I'm gonna have to hard cut this in let's say an hour and a half, but she should be here by then, I'd say. But okay. Is YouTube still down for me? Yes. YouTube has not been working at all today for me. It fixed. What'd you do? Fables, what'd you do? How did you fix it? How'd you fix it? Bro, my shit was so fucked up for so fucking long, dude. What did you do? Bro, oh my God, y'all. Okay, you're welcome. Bro, stop the cap. What'd you do? You did something? Bro, okay. Bro, y'all, I was being... I called John YouTube. Bro, chat, my shit was insane. I couldn't switch accounts. I couldn't log out. It wasn't a cookie thing, wasn't a cache thing, wasn't a browser thing, wasn't an ISP thing. Oh, don't, of course, dude, it was, I'm like, bro, what even is this? Like, this is client side, or this is server side for sure. Oh man. Well, okay, that means that now I can actually stop this, and now I can do song request. All right, so yeah, it breaks them eventually. That was nuts. Okay, so song request is now operable again, y'all. Welcome back. Drop me some bangers. Drop me some heat. All right, so we are so back right now. All right, let's keep going here. So we have our I promise you, I'm not trying to farm anything here, y'all. On God here. But today's tweet of the day. This is how it sounds every time Drake speaks Spanish in a song. Bro. Now you may be wondering here, okay. Are we celebrating or are we like cringing at when Drake speaks Spanish in a song? Well, let's see what we got here. He thought his dog was stupid, but it just, you know, the previous owner taught it Spanish in the end. He responds to Spanish commands.
God damn, man, these motherfuckers gave me this goddamn dog for free. Come to find out how to speak Spanish. Come here, Snack. Vente. Sentate. Dame la mano, move. God damn, man, these motherfuckers gave me this goddamn dog for free. Come to find out how to speak Spanish. Come here, Snack. Vente. Sentate. Dame la mano, move.
Oh, dude, I love it. Also, the dog is such a cutie pie. Oh my God, bro. I love, goddamn, dude. I wish my dog park wasn't so fucking stupid, bro. I would go to the dog park every day I was off if it was like not the worst thing ever to fucking commute to. Is that even Spanish? Bro, if y'all live next to a dog park and it's not like terrible to go to, go for me, bro. Pour one out for your boy here, bro. My dog park is like in the most traffic dense shithole portion of my city, and it's so annoying to go to. Ah, bro. All right, so moving on here. Daily Mail, which, oh Lord, they're trying another got him here, but it's really, really bad. I thought it was hilarious. Kamala Harris's VP choice of Tim Walz had secret fling with daughter of top Chinese communist official during teaching stint in China. So they're trying here, right? It's not yes, Tim Walz did a broad travel thing in China and learned some Mandarin Chinese for a little bit. And apparently also, you know, rizzed up some bitches, bro. Waltz got bitches 35 years ago before he got married. What they don't include in the headline, by the way, is the factor that this was like at least 5 to 7 years before he ever got married anyway. So it makes it seem like it was adultery, but it just, I don't know, bro. Like it's another really bad attempt at got him on like some mudslinging here. But you know, I just kind of wanted to share that with you here if you wanted to know. Oh, what's this?
Now to shamelessly plug a video I want you to watch / react to Hex Smug.
Bro, I'm already hella appreciative because I was like so fucking annoyed there. For the man, you gonna throw me a whole 20-minute video? Oh, bro, this is a whole motherfucking thing. You asked if my YouTube was working so you can plug me this video. All right, hang on. I see what you're doing here. I see your ploy here. Okay. For the oh wait, okay. YouTube updated here. Hang on, I see what they did. They sussy, y'all. All right, look at this. So I go over to quality, and now there's 1080p. And now there's like enhanced bitrate for premium 1080p, which I'm assuming is like, you know, you got to have YouTube Plus to have that now. That's always been there. Okay, all right. Maybe my shit was fucked up. I don't know. My shit was fucked up for a hot minute. Then I don't fucking know. All right. My bad. I don't know, chat. My shit usually defaults to whatever the top quality is, and it was 360p for a second. So I've never had to click this shit to because my cookies and cache are all fucked up and whatnot. My bad. Damn. Big thank you to Vim for feeding me. Love you. Appreciate you so much. Okay, so thank you to Fabes for linking me this. This was a fun react here. I had a blast this one. Calling Kamala a narcissist is crazy coming from that camp of all people here. Lost some brain cells. All right. However, don't think I'm letting this one slide here, Chad. We are not done yet.
Doubt.
All right. The anthem here. Okay, listen. I live in Louisiana. I am surrounded by so many F-250s with Punisher skulls, truck nuts, Trump flags, the whole thing. Everything short, like the only difference between Florida and Louisiana is that Florida, they actually have the Trump wrapped trucks. No one has a wrap around here, but I do be seeing Trump flags everywhere, and it's ridiculous. Okay, so this topic has been brewing for a while now, and I've hit the fever point here. I'm in a hating ass mood today, y'all. So wrap is the custom, like the whole like vehicle sized decal on your vehicle. Like you have like Trump's photoshopped 6-pack looking like Rambo with the AK-47 or whatever here, mowing down people in the jungle. They have the whole thing on their truck and whatnot. That's a wrap. And they're generally like, $1 to $2 grand to do that kind of thing. So, okay. With that, the once and for all, I found the video, the ultimate takedown, why the Punisher skull is actually stupid for so many fucking reasons. The Punisher and what the Punisher represents is 100% like the antithesis to the entire MAGA movement. The fact that they've adopted the Punisher skull for their cool thing of choice to be like patriotic is like, oh, it's such a pathetic hijacking in the attempt to look cool. And it really just reveals here the lack of like any like real integrity of an artistic movement for conservatives altogether. So without further ado, why are Punisher skulls dumb on vehicles?
I recently made a video about how gun accessories can impact not only your perception of guilt in front of a jury, but the possible sentence as well. In that video, we talked about cases where judges admitted accessories like lasers, silencers, aftermarket triggers to show motive or intent or state of mind for a crime. I mentioned that cosmetic accessories were not as frequently seen as functional accessories like triggers, although we did talk about the prosecutors who sought to introduce an AR-15 dust cover that said, "You're f***ed" on it. I may have specifically said in that video that I've never found a case about Punisher skull accessories, but some of the viewers out there sent a case my way. I'm embarrassed. Took place in none other than my home state of Florida. And this is a wild one. I would assume 95% of you out there know what the Punisher skull is. You're talking about Frank Castle, Marvel vigilante who goes after criminals and kills them violently. His logo, the distinct white skull. I feel like I have to mention it because in the case that we're talking about today, State of Florida versus Wong, the judge and most of the jury had no clue what the Punisher skull was. God bless him. Funny enough, the trial judge said that he must live in a cocoon, his words, because he didn't know what the Punisher was. Now let's pause for a second. Look at me, guys. While we're talking about the court of law, let's talk about the court of public opinion. Punisher skulls, out. Factually, cringe. Maybe they were okay 20 years ago when people didn't know what it was and it was less common, but now people still don't know what it is, and you have your Uncle Cletus with a 3-foot by 2-foot Punisher logo on the Dodge Ram 1500 he's gotten 2 DUIs in, and he thinks the MCU is woke DEI propaganda, and he and your dad used to beat up kids who read comic books in high school. If I see a Punisher skull, I know you're already guilty of never reading a book that didn't have pictures in it.
Thank you one more time, people in the back. They are like you are so comically underinformed on the source material that if you knew what it was, you were probably against it 10 years ago. Oh my God. So good. One more time, please. Louder for those in the back.
People still don't know what it is, and you have your Uncle Cletus with a 3-foot by 2-foot Punisher logo on the Dodge Ram 1500 he's gotten 2 DUIs in, and he thinks the MCU is woke DEI propaganda, and he and your dad used to beat up kids who read comic books in high school. If I see a Punisher skull, I know you're already guilty of never reading a book that didn't have pictures in it, of having a BMI over 30, of thinking a cummerbund is a pastry. Ivan Wong discovered that his wife Mabel had been texting another man. He punched a mirror, he broke his hand, he threw a hammer at a dresser, got pissed off. For some reason, she moved out. 4 days later, Mr. Wong purchases a handgun. If you don't have a concealed handgun permit in Florida, there's a cooling off period. At least there was at the time. 8 days later, Wong goes back to the gun shop, picks up the handgun because now, for sure, he's cooled off. He meets with Mabel one last time to try to reconcile, but he insists, for whatever reason, on looking at her phone, where he sees the text messages between her and this other man. Great idea. He does what any other reasonable man would do. Flip his shit, smash his wife's phone in the street to teach her a lesson, which causes her, of course, to run away. He drives to his house to get his gun, in his words, to scare Mabel into stop texting this other man. Well, for one, she can't text the other guy anymore because you broke her phone. Two, you just admitted that you intended to commit aggravated assault, a very serious felony. Wong calls Mabel's friend Maria, who Mabel's staying with, and asks to speak with Mabel. Wisely, Maria says, not going to happen. And I'm going to call the cops if you come over here. As soon as Maria goes outside to tell her husband and her husband's friend about what happened, Wang's pickup is in the driveway. He jumps out of the car, starts shooting, killing Maria's husband, wounding his friend. Wong drives the truck through Maria's front door and into her house. Mabel's father puts himself between Mabel and the truck, but that goes about as well as you'd think it would, and Wong goes right through him, running over Mabel, killing her. He sees Maria hiding behind her husband's truck, so Wong runs into the truck, trying to kill Maria.
Okay. I've only watched the first 2 minutes of this video, and I was gonna react. I'm raw reacting to the second half of this shit. This is fucking crazy. I didn't know all this shit. I'm sorry. I was here for the Punisher shit. I didn't know we were staying for whatever the fuck this unhinged ass case is. Holy fuck.
His husband, wounding his friend. Wong drives the truck through Maria's front door and into her house. Mabel's father puts himself between Mabel and the truck, but that goes about as well as you'd think it would, and Wong goes right through him, running over Mabel, killing her. He sees Maria hiding behind her husband's truck, so Wong runs into the truck, trying to kill Maria as well. She escapes with a foot injury. During this demolition derby that homicidal psychopath Wong is putting on in front of Maria's front yard, he's repeatedly running over her husband, Michael, ensuring that if the bullets from the Punisher gun didn't kill him, his four-wheel F-350 compensation device would. After the incident, Wong's family convinces him to turn himself in, which he does. As you might imagine, Wang's charged and convicted of a shitload of serious felonies, including first-degree murder, which means that the murder was premeditated, as opposed to second-degree murder, which is not premeditated, or manslaughter, which is seen as a killing in the heat of passion or through recklessness. James, what does this fucked up case have to do with Punisher skulls? Glad you asked. I hate to say it's funny, but the legal issue in this case, Wong appealed because his gun was shown to the jury. You guessed it, he had Punisher skull grips. Apparently before the trial, there was an in-depth hearing as to whether Punisher skull grips should be admitted into evidence. It seemed like there was a gentleman's agreement among the lawyers, even at the hearing, that if the grips were admitted into evidence, the state wasn't going to dramatize them or call special attention to them. This man thought he was the Punisher, taking bloody retribution out on his wife and her friends. The jury would just see the grips. That's it. I say it's funny because this dude just massacred an entire family and shot 2 people with a handgun he purchased immediately after he separated from his wife. And he thinks he's going to beat Murder 1 if the jury doesn't see his Punisher skull grips. That's like a 9/11 hijacker saying he wouldn't have been found guilty if the jury didn't see his New York Jets jersey. I mean, if this is the best you've got for an appeal, give it a whip, see what happens, but most of you can probably tell where this one's going. The Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court pointed out to exclude evidence which had been admitted at trial. Exclusion of the evidence would have changed the outcome of the trial. The Florida Supreme Court reached the same conclusion that the Court of Appeals, the trial court, and literally all of us watching have, and that is, dude, you didn't go to prison because of Punisher skull grips. You went to prison because you killed an entire family over a fight with your wife. To be fair, he was trying to beat the premeditated murder charge, but I don't think the Punisher skull grips did him in. It probably would have been the fact that he bought the gun the day they separated, that he drove to get it before he went to Maria's house, and he got out and started shooting. It's also worth noting that the state waived the death penalty, so this dude wasn't even fighting for his life to beat this premeditated charge. He was going to get life in prison no matter what with his ankles behind his head. Murder 1, murder 2. Dumb case. What's the takeaway for you? You should note that Punisher skull grips were indeed admitted into evidence. You may or may not think that's important, but Mr. Wong's legal team certainly thought it was important enough to have a hearing over their exclusion and to appeal it, while the state fought to make sure that the jury saw the grips. This case ultimately reinforces my conclusion from the accessories as...
Oh my god, can Disney please do their fucking job for once and just like sue the fuck? Understand, by the way, that all of this shit is completely not legal. Like, this is 1 billion% copyright infringement. I'm pretty confident Disney does not want any fucking Marvel memorabilia to be officially licensed weapon accessories. Like, holy fucking shit, they're such cucks. You know they don't do it because they don't want to piss off the fucking Christian, majority white, normal family fan base with, like, them already getting hit with, like, fucking nonsense DEI woke accusations anyway here. Oh my god, bro. Like, holy fucker. Yeah, because in the end, they made the call already that enforcing this would be a hit on the profit overall, because there would be, like, boycotts, and because that fan base is already lunatic-driven idiocracy anyway here. Oh, god, dude, so fucking dumb. This video's crazy, though. This video's fucking crazy.
Fought to make sure that the jury saw the grips. This case ultimately reinforces my conclusion from the accessories as evidence video, and that is, if you have accessories on your gun that you don't want the jury to see, or that you don't want a prosecutor to twist around on you, maybe reconsider those accessories or keeping your sweet-ass Punisher gun for range day only. I know, James is a boomer now. He's telling us not to put certain accessories on our gun because we're gonna go to jail. None of this shit matters. Dude, I'm showing you cases where this was actually presented to a jury. If you think it's not important, rock on, do it. All I can say is just don't do anything to your gun that you can't justify in court or that you wouldn't want a jury or a prosecutor to see. That's all I'm saying. You're all adults, do what adults do, carry comic book character totems with you if you want, because you want your gun to be different than his gun. I'm James Reeves. I'm not your lawyer. This is not legal advice, but if you want me to be your lawyer, sign up for US Law Shield, at least in Mississippi and Louisiana. Use promo code NGGC. You get a few months of free membership, and My Range Neutral Ground Gun Company gets 20 or 30 bucks, something like that. Thanks as usual for watching. Take care of yourselves out there.
Great video. That was crazy. Great video, by the way. I like how, what I like about this video is that you just hear how absolutely batshit insane this, like, another day of America with gun violence here. Like, in a world where we had, like, common sense gun laws and just background checks or whatever the fuck here. Like, even though our boy, I say our boy, good lord, Psychopath Wong had to, like, endure, what was it, an 8-day waiting period or whatever it was. Even then, like, that was better than, like, no restriction, which there are definitely states in Louisiana and Texas and Florida where, you know, there are some lucrative gun show loopholes. I don't know if he was, like, he already had a rap on him and whatnot here, but, like, you can definitely get around a lot of waiting periods with the gun show loopholes where you can, like, I forget how exactly it works here, but you can circumvent, you can circumvent background checks. I don't know about waiting periods, though, but regardless here, just hearing the senseless violence and how when guns got involved made this, well, in this case it was vehicular, like, fucking murder, but, like, the guns didn't help, clearly, right? When you just hear, like, a sample of what goes on in this country every day with with gun violence, shootings, and the gun-induced escalation of certain situations, god damn, it makes it seem like a fucking World War III shithole, I would say. But I like that, like, the absurdity of it. It feels like a freaking, like, a tragic movie, but at the same time, it's like, well, you know, this happens. Like, remind me again, what is it, like, there's 4 mass shootings daily, I want to say, in USA on average, which is, like, specifically when, like, 4 or more people are involved in a shooting that's gun violence related. Well, anyways, I forget the exact number of total per day versus average number per day, but, like, so either way, though, it was kind of crazy to see here, like, such a tragic, horrible tale outlined, and then how the Punisher skulls, you know, just, yeah, that tells you everything, y'all. It really does. In the same way that, you know, if I can just go mask off for a second here, in the same way that whenever I see, like, Trump flags, I'm thinking, oh god, here are some uneducated racists in my vicinity now. Let me put on my white man so that I don't have to, like, deal with them any longer than I have to. That's like literally where I'm at right now. So, sorry, I'm going pretty heavy-handed here. Okay, well with that, Venom is back now, so we're gonna go, chat. I'm gonna go ahead and go early vote. I encourage you to look into your shit here. Today's my last day to go vote, so we're gonna go vote now because we have like literally an hour and a half until it's closed. So I'm gonna go early vote. I'm gonna try to vote out my fucking terrible House representative because that guy's a total fucking stop the steal, Trump thumping piece of shit. And I'm gonna go vote. What else here? It's like there's like 4 things you get to vote on: House rep, president, and 2 other things. So I'm gonna go ahead and go do that. Appreciate y'all. Today was kind of a shit show anyway because my fucking YouTube wasn't working and I didn't know what I was gonna do until then. But I love you all. Here's a link to that video if you want to share with your friends or whatever else here. Let's find someone to raid so I can go ahead and go do this here. Oh, you know what? Once again, we didn't get to the emote stuff. Tomorrow, chat. Tomorrow, one day at a time. We're gonna get there. I will eventually do the emote stuff. I'm sorry again here. So, tomorrow, for real. Yeah, totally. You know, if I just keep promising it, eventually it'll happen, right? Right, let's see here. Looking for a raid target now. 1 second. Who is live in the middle of the afternoon here? Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm skimming. Ooh, my boy's playing Marvel. Ooh, I might rate him actually. Yeah, I think I'm doing my boy here. My boy is playing Marvel 2 right now. Y'all fuck with that Marvel 2 or what? Nopers? Oh man, you're missing out, bro. That Marvel hot, bro. Let me see here. Hell yeah, bro. All right, so let's go over here then. So we are rating Mr. Fanatic. Let me see here. What's our message here? Need advice. I run Triple Iceman as my main team. And when I'm feeling sweaty, I'll go. Oh my god, what's the most degenerate team ever here? Cable. Let me think here. Fuck. What is the most cheese fucking team, y'all? Fuck. Let me think here. Goddamn. I want to say like Cable. Fuck, I can't think here. Storm Magneto said no. No, that's the top tier team. We're more looking at the like I'm thinking like what the Scrubs do. Like Scrubs love Cable, but I can't remember who else they use it here. Like I'll go with the cable anchor team. Cable Storm Cyclops. Up too late.